touching you, hands touching me, touching you, hands touching me, touching you, sweet Caroline. Ba ba ba. What's going on, people? What you gonna do when you grow up and have to face responsibility? Saying it's the little ghetto boys playing in these ghetto streets. What you gonna do when you grow up and have to face responsibility? Oh yeah. What's happening, my people? What's happening, my people? Once again, it's on, as they say, they say in Juice. That was Raheem. Yo, once again, it's on. Glad to see everybody trickling in. I want to send some shout outs to my people. My boy Chris Thorns, what's up? What's going on? Terrion. Akeem. Yes, Akeem. I have a date with Lisa. I want to give a shout out to Jinx. What's happening? My main man, Jason Guns. Boy, I tell you, if you ain't a brother from another mother, I don't know what is. Shannon, what's happening? Yes, indeed. I was brought here to lead, not to read. It's going down today, people. I think I got a topic. Well, y'all seen the topic, but this has been something I've really been thinking about for quite some time to talk about, and I said, you know what? I need to get this off my chest. I need to lay this burden down and let the people know what's going down. So I think this is going to be a really interesting show. James White, what's happening, Captain? I think it's going to be really good. I think it's going to be a great discussion to have. And I think it's going to be some information that can be useful for people that watch this and for those that watch it later, 2 years later, 10 years later, whatever the case may be. So, yeah, let's see if we can get a few more peeps off up in this place. If they can come on off up in here, that would be all right. Actually, I need to send this to a couple of other people. I thought I had this link on my phone, but I don't think I do. It is not. Yes. So basically what I want to do is I want to go ahead and I'm going to send this out real quick to a couple other people that I think are going to be able to tune in to this here. And then I'll go into my little spiel, and then I will take some questions. And if by chance you guys want to do some calls ins, we can do some call ins, because a brother got the ability to do so. Thanks to Jason. Yes, indeed. He helped me last time. We was like 40 minutes. I cut it out the show. But yeah, we went at that thing for like 40 minutes to get it. But we got it. We got it, man. Yeah, buddy. Just want to give a shout out to all of my peoples out there in Soto Nation. I want to give a shout out to my brother Tommy. Wherever you may be, good sir, I hope that all is well and that you are in good spirits. I want to send a shout out to my man DJ Just J. I don't know where off in this world he might be, but at the end of the day, I'm wishing him nothing but blessings and Godspeed, good sir. That is not what I want to do, so let's change that. And then we're going to go right here and grab what I need. But yeah, I definitely want to make sure that those brothers are out there doing well, and things are going the way that they want them to go. And how y'all doing, man? Let me ask y'all, how y'all cats out there doing? How is the Soto Nation? How are all my brothers and sisters out there in the world doing on today? Y'all doing all right? I hope so. I hope so. I hope so. Yes, I do. I hope so. Yes, indeed. Let's see here. I am going to send this out to these two groups. Also, want to give a shout out to my man Chris Thorns, another one of my brothers that's a content creator, and also to the Listen Doctor. Man, I was Chris Thorns had a show the other day, and he did a show about the about a girl that had been getting raped since she was like 11 years old and married her rapist, and it was wild. But it was a really informative, man. And Listen Doctor came on there and was talking about his own testimony and things that was going on with him. He was being really transparent, and it was quite touching, man. I really commend that brother for being able to just do what it is he's doing, and to talk about what he talked about, man. That was real heavy, man. And I'm glad he did it, though. You know, it was really awesome. But yeah, I just want to say to everybody that has been supporting the relationship rehab, I appreciate you guys. To everybody that has been supporting the guru and the whore, I appreciate you guys as well. Man, you could be any place in the world, but you guys chose here to be with me on tonight, and I appreciate that. And every Thursday when you guys tune in, man, I tell you, man, you guys just don't know how much I look forward to doing that show with you guys and have you guys out there. It's really awesome, man. I appreciate y'all taking the time to tune in, and man, it's just really something to see, man. It's really something to just be a part of something that is really being a contribution to people, man. So I appreciate y'all. It is really awesome, and it don't come along too often, and it don't happen too often. But the fact that you guys do it, man, I definitely week in and week out, you guys support, you guys donate, and it is just awesome. And my hat's off to you all, man. I thank you guys, and I appreciate you guys for what it is that you do. And man, it's such a great privilege and an honor to be a part of something this awesome, man. To my wonderful wife, who's probably asleep by now, as always, I love you so very much. You set my soul on fire. It is not just a spark, but it is a flame, a big roaring flame. Ah, I can feel it now. All right, so I've done what I needed to do. I got my water here. Let me make sure get my lips right. You don't want no dry lips when you broadcast. Yes, indeed. I feel good. I feel great. I got my people with me. It's good to see all of y'all here once again. Everybody that's in the chat room, what's happening? And let's dive in. Can everybody hear me okay? Sounds good. Give me a thumbs up or something. What's going on, Chaos? I'm assuming that everything is everything. My brother Eric. Yeah, buddy. Just when I thought I was the most long-winded person in YouTube land, my brother from another mother, Eric James, came along and proved me wrong. What's going on, brother? How you doing, man? All right. Thank you. Sound is great. That's what's up. So, basically what I wanted to do, I'm just going to go into it, and I'm going to talk about a few points first, and then I'm going to actually dive in and hit them, and then see what you guys think, get some feedback, whatever the case may be. And if you guys want to call in, I may even, you know what? I just may do, I can set up a hangout. And if somebody wants to do a hangout, we can pop in. Yeah, we can do that too. So we're going to make this thing work. We're going to do something epic tonight. I just feel it. It's in the air. It's like if I could play some music right now, I play that Phil Collins. And I can feel it coming in the air at night. Oh, Lord. And I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Y'all don't know nothing about that. Yeah, buddy, that's that Phil Collins. Uh-huh. Well, then you told me you were drowning. Yeah, I would not lend a hand. I've seen your face before, my friend, but I don't know if you know who I am. But I was there and I saw what you did. Saw it with my own two eyes. So you can wipe off that grin. I know where you've been. It's all been a pack of lies. What y'all know about that? Yeah, had a boy, the boy had the pipes like that. Yeah, he do. Could carry a note or two. I could carry a note or two. All right, so this is what the show is about. If you can see the title of it, it's the relationship rehab. This is episode number 5. Episode 5 because it's live. Live. So tell me, how did I go live? That's that Casey and JoJo. Yeah, so it's about police brutality versus the people's reality and the truth in between. So what I want to do is I want to have a conversation about the perception and just the perspective of law enforcement and the police and how that relationship is with the everyday common people, street thug, whatever, the lawbreaker and law-abiding citizen, however that works, and to try to come together and like find some middle ground to where there's some actual truth and some facts and reality about this situation. So I definitely got some points to hit on, and we're just going to have a conversation about this to see exactly what it is, because I think about the police and what it is that they do and how they do things. And I also, on the other side, I think about being a person, a civilian, and law-abiding citizen, and in some cases the criminal, and what it is that their experience is and how that works together, and where the problems arise, and maybe even come into a place where we can actually find some common ground and figure some things out. So I definitely want to talk about that. I can personally say that I have been on both sides. I've been on the side of being a citizen or a civilian that has been, harassed, if you will, or was just basically I've had some negative interactions with law enforcement or with the police, as however y'all want to say it. And also, too, I have been on the law enforcement side. I have actually been a sworn officer for about almost 2 years. I did that as a sheriff's deputy reserve in the not too far from the area that I live in. So I've had that experience. And also, not to mention, I come from a family of law enforcement. My father was a Chicago police officer. He served for over 30 years in the great inner city of Chicago, Chi-Town, also known as Chirac. The area that I grew up in was and still is known as the Wild Hundreds. I actually was living in that area when that whole term became prevalent. I was there. I witnessed why the hundreds became wild. I know the people who contributed to the hundreds becoming wild. And I was not a hardened criminal, but I've had my time when I've done some things that were not on the right side of the law, I guess I would say. So I think that I have a more of a I got a full spectrum pretty much view of just be, straight up law abiding citizen to being a law enforcement officer and all the stuff that comes in between, including criminal activity, knowing criminals, associated with criminals, being affiliated with criminals, affiliated with gangs, all that kind of stuff. I've seen it all, experienced it all, or have been like really close to it. So, with that being said, I think I am qualified to kind of dive in on this and like talk about what it is and where these problems and stuff like that arise from, why we have a lot of the problems that we have. I am one of the first people to always say that when it comes to problems that people have in relationships, because I think that this is a relationship problem, which is why I want to rehab it. Did he just tie that in? Yes, he did. One of the problems that I think that we have is how we relate to each other is because we don't have, number one, expectations. The other part to that is that we have over time just been I think one of the biggest breakdowns is that we as people, just your everyday civilian, we are ignorant of the law. And I mean that, and that is definitely the correct phrase, the correct terminology to use in that instance. We are ignorant at when it comes to the law, when it comes to law enforcement, when it comes to the process of law enforcement, when it comes to the judicial process, all of that kind of stuff, we are ignorant to it. And I think that is one of the main problems with why we have such a disconnect when it comes to us and interacting with law enforcement. So when you talk about dealing with the police, interacting with the police, being stopped by the police, needing the police, calling the police, all those type of things are all encompassing. I believe that the fact that you, as a person or as a citizen, it is your duty, it is your responsibility, I should say, to know the law. You don't have to know it as well as a lawyer. You don't have to know it front to back. You don't have to know it all. You should at bare minimum know your rights and know what it is that you can do legally as a civilian, and you should know the roles and responsibility of your local law enforcement when it comes to that interaction. So I think that is paramount because of the simple fact is that more than likely at some point in your life, in your time, you are going to have an interaction with a law enforcement officer. And with you doing that, you need to, depending on whether or not if you are the person that called the law or the police, or if you are the person that the police have been called on, you need to know how to interact with that law enforcement officer. I think that one of the biggest misconceptions that we tend to make is that we think that the police know everything. We think the police know the law. We think the police know what to do, how to do it, and we think that they are responsible for us. They are here to serve us, and I believe that is one of the main first expectations, which is actually a misconception that we have. When it comes to the police, and this is just like a couple of things that I wrote down as far as just the questions that we can just ask and talk about today is, when it comes to the problems that we have with the police, is it the police or is it us? Is it that we are the problem, or is it that the police are the problem? A lot of people tend to have that idea to say, oh, it's the police. The police full of crap. They do this and they do that, and the police, they don't treat us right. They racist and they abuse us and they take advantage of us and they crooked. Okay, so if that's the case, then at the end of the day, where do you go from that point? But then again, if that's not the case, then what? Is it something to where it's a part of us and it's what we do and how we interact? Is it what we say? Is it the way that we are approached and how we approach them? I believe that has a lot to do with it. We tend to think that the police know us, or they don't know us, or they ain't trying to know us, or whatever the case may be. And whatever misconceptions that we have about the police, you have to realize at the end of the day, the police are people just like you. However, they are a person that is in an authoritative position. They have authority over you, whether you want to admit it or not. Now, you can be one of those idiots that say, ain't no police got no authority over me. They do. If you in the United States, America, and the police are in your vicinity, in your area, or in your presence, they have a certain level of authority over you. Plain and simple. Um, when it comes to who's to blame for law enforcement issues that we have in society, and like I said, with the who is it us or is it them or whatever, you have to really be an adult and look at the situation and see what it is and what's happening and what it's about and what the situation is. And I can tell you this, there are good cops and there are bad cops. And in that same token, there are good people and there are bad people. There are, you do have your cops that are immature assholes that think that, that their badge that they have gives them a right to rule the world. You do have your people that are uninformed, that are illogical, and think that they could do whatever the hell they want to do and nobody can stop them and nobody can question them or challenge them because they have such a bad taste in their mouth about the police, whether they had a bad experience, whatever the case may be. All police are not the same. So that's something that you have to consider too. So when you say, how do you know, or I pose this question, how do you know and what's at stake if you don't know what you're dealing with when it comes to the law, not knowing the law, not understanding what the police job is and all that kind of stuff. What's at stake at the end of the day, and you can talk about what's right and wrong, but at the end of the day, what's at stake is you going home, going to jail, or going to the grave. That's what's at stake. So it's like that's something that you really need to keep in mind and think about this and think about what's happening and how things are going to unfold and what the worst case scenario is as opposed to the best case scenario. Worst come to worst, you can wind up somewhere with a toe tag on or getting zipped up in a body bag. So you being ignorant, you not knowing what the law is, you potentially not knowing how to interact or how to handle yourself in a situation with a law enforcement officer can definitely be to your demise. And I think that we've seen that in a lot of instances. Whether you want to think that it's right or what's wrong, it's about what's legal and what's illegal, right? So at the end of the day, I guess one of the main questions that you need to know and be aware of is first and foremost, what is the police job? And a lot of people truly don't know this. I have asked certain people this and they can't articulate it. And what people think, the first thing that they think, and this is due to, and this is law enforcement, and this is very, very, very poor advertisement or propaganda, whatever you want to call it. But when you ask somebody, what's the police job? The first thing out of their mouth is to protect and serve, or to serve and protect. And that is incorrect. That is not true. That is not what the reality of the situation is. It is not the police job to serve and protect. Now, there are some people who are going to hear this and say, well, that ain't right. That is what they're supposed to do. They got it on the side of their cars and all that kind of stuff. Look at the police cars of today. You will see, you used to see it back in the day, back in the 80s and the early 90s, you used to see it, but that started coming off around the mid to late 90s. And it's probably gone by now. I would say it's very, very, very hard for you to find a police department that still has that mantra on the side of their vehicles, or have that on their logo and all that kind of stuff. You don't see it. That protect and serve and protect and all that kind of stuff, that is not the police job. The police job is to enforce the law. That's why they call it law enforcement. Their job, first and foremost, first priority number one, is to enforce the law. That means if a law is broken, then they are to put you in the system to bring you before the judge and to bring you to court in order for you to plead your case and to be either to be prosecuted or to be fined or jailed or whatever the case may be, whatever that situation is, as far as the law is concerned, when that law is broken. That is their job. Their job is to enforce the law. First and foremost, that is their main objective. That is their main directive. They was like RoboCop, and you know how them directives come up in RoboCop, them 4 directives. Well, in our police departments, their first directive is to enforce the law. Now, how they do that is totally up to them, and they have a lot of leeway, and they have a lot of authority when it comes to how they do that. They get to determine a lot of things when it comes to that. So one of those things, I mean, when you're talking about knowing what the police do, the police job is not to save you. The police job is not to save you. The police job is not to come and to do this thing and do that thing because you think they should do this or you think they should do that. That is not it. That is not their job. So keep that in mind. First things first, first and foremost, their job is to enforce the law. So when you call the police, when you are having the police to come to you, you are calling them, basically telling them that you either suspect or you know for a fact that a law is being broken and you want them to enforce that law. You want them to hold that person or those people accountable for breaking this particular law. That's what you are calling them for, which is why one of the main things they ask you is, do you want to press charges? Because if you want to press charges on a law that they've broken, then yep, that's what they do. They take their butts to jail and then they let the lawyers and the prosecutors and the public defendants, they all figure it out and then they go from there. But their job is to enforce that law. So another thing that you need to make sure that you realize and that you need to recognize is that you know the law. Know what it is that the law states that the police can and cannot do. Another big misconception is that people think that the police cannot pat you down when they see you if you ain't did nothing wrong. Furthest thing from the truth, all right? If the police come and see you and the police stop you, they have every right while they are within contact with you. If they contacting you and they talking to you, seeing what's going on, what you doing, how you doing, what's your name, they get to ask you any and every type of question that they want to. They can ask you any question from what's your first and last name all the way to who do you think killed Jimmy Hoffa. They can ask you any question that they want to, okay? That is their right. They have the authority to do that. They also have the authority to pat you down. It is called, I believe it is called a Terry frisk, if I'm not mistaken. It's called a Terry frisk. And basically what that is a general pat down of your exterior body to make sure that you have no weapons or anything that can actually harm an officer. It is for officer safety. So that means that if you have a knife in your pocket, if you have a gun in your pocket, a grenade in your pocket, a rocket launcher in your pocket, they have the right to pat you down to see if you have that so that they know what it is that you could potentially do to harm them. If during that pat down, they feel something that feels like a gun, or they feel something that feels like something that could hurt you or harm them, they then have the right to have you to empty your pockets. Okay? If they do that, you have to go along with that because it is a part of that pat down. So if I'm patting you down as an officer and I feel in your pocket what feels to me based on my judgment as the officer, I have my own judgment that I use. And in my judgment, if what you have in your pocket feels like a 38 snub nose, I then have the power to, or the authority to say, hey, what is that in your pocket? And you tell me, I don't know what you mean. What is that in your pocket, sir? It's a cell phone. Okay, sir, do you mind showing me that cell phone because it feels like a gun, right? If in that instance they think that you may have a gun, they can go in that pocket because out of my 28 years of law enforcement, they're going to be on the witness stand saying, in my 28 years of experience, I'm very familiar with how a gun feels and how the impression or the imprint that gun makes. And that's why I believed it to be a gun, sir. And that is why I asked the person to go into his pocket and to show me. At that time, we began to fight and struggle. And then I shot him 18 times. That's exactly how it goes down. And everybody will be sitting there talking about, but he ain't no gun. No. If you don't have no gun and if you ain't dirty, then why wouldn't you show that officer what it is that you have in your pocket? Okay? So a lot of people think that you being harassed and all that kind of stuff. And at the end of the day, most police officers will have contact with you and they ask you questions because what they're doing is they are trying to get a feel for you and what it is that you're doing. So if you are seeming to be very nervous, if you seem to be very sketchy, if you seem to be very vague or disrespectful, then they tend to think that you are a bad guy, or they tend to think that there is something wrong, or you are doing something that you shouldn't be doing, or something illegal. It makes sense, right? And that is one of the biggest misconceptions or biggest breakdowns in law enforcement and in relationships with regular civilian people. You tend to think that why the police asking me all these questions? Why are they coming at me like this? Why they saying this? Why they saying that? Y'all ain't got the right to. They do, and the reason why they're doing that is because they are getting a feel for you to see what exactly your motives are. Because at the end of the day, most police officers, and we're talking about good police don't want to let the bad guy get away at the end of the day. And it's like, for me to contact a civilian, me to talk to somebody, just somebody that may seem suspicious to me, and for me not to do my due diligence and go through all of those different steps and talk to that person, feel that person out, get some information from that person. If I don't do that, and then that person turns around because I half-assed and commits a crime an hour later, then that's something that a lot of cops think about and they take home, and sometimes they can't get over that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, because I didn't pat down somebody because I didn't want to make you feel uncomfortable, or I didn't want you to think that I was being racist, and I don't pat you down, but that gun you had in your pocket, that 380, you go and kill your wife 2 hours later, because she didn't have the dishes washed, then now I feel like it was partially my fault, because if I would have patted you down, I would have got that gun because you didn't have a permit for it and you didn't have a right to carry it because you were a 4-time felon, and I let you go. That happens, right? So it's like, when you thinking about that aspect from your point of view, where somebody's harassing you, you have to think about it from the law enforcement officer's perspective, to say, hey, they don't want you to get in that situation to where they the ones that let the bad guy go, and the bad guy goes and commits a crime. What's the guy that did the murder, the Summer of Sam dude? I don't know if y'all remember that or not. Well, way back in the 70s, the Summer of Sam dude, who was a serial killer, killing all these people. Police couldn't catch him. I can't think of what his name was, but they couldn't catch this dude. You know how they finally caught him? A police officer wrote a ticket on his car. He had like it was a busted tail light, I believe. That's how they got that dude. You know what I'm saying? David Berkowitz, is that his name? Okay, there you go. But they caught that dude because a regular beat cop saw law enforcement, a dude who broke the law. He had a vehicle that had a broken tail light, and he wrote a ticket. And that was just the catalyst that led down to all this other stuff, and that's how they finally caught the dude. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that in itself lets you know how important something that you think is that small, because if he would have let that dude go, he would have just kept going, wouldn't have never found out. They would have never got it. They would have never caught him, probably, and maybe 4 or 5 more bodies later, he might have stopped for a while, or he may have gotten 4 or 5 other people, and then finally turned himself in. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that at the end of the day is something to where that's what a lot of good police think about. We don't want to let the bad guy get away. We don't want that, like somebody said, we don't want that blood on our hands. We don't want it to be like, well, damn, had I patted that dude down, or had I stopped that dude that looked familiar when I was driving in the car, this dude looked at me and then he turned away real quick. That was suspicious. I should have stopped him. I should have contacted him. You know what I'm saying? It's like, those are the things that really do happen. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, because if you really think about it, most of the time when you do have people that just stumble on to those type of arrests, it's just a simple fact of something wasn't right. It's that inner intuition. It's that gut feeling to where you say, you know what, that guy just don't seem right. And that's what a lot of good cops use. So it's like, those are the things that you think about, and those are the things that you see. And it's like, if you're not cognizant of that as a civilian, then, hey, you gonna think that maybe somebody picking on you, or somebody's being racist against you, or they profiling you. Now, the other part to that too is, if you know this as a civilian, then you need to be more inclined to help that officer and to put that officer at ease, to say, hey, I'm a good guy. At the end of the day, when I walk out in the streets, I'm a good guy. I know I'm a good guy. I know for the simple fact that, hey, whatever it is that the police say to me or whatever, you can ask me whatever you want to a certain degree, and I'm going to be really forthcoming because at the end of the day, I'm not riding dirty. I ain't got nothing illegal on me. And it's like I feel as though, well, the quicker I can help you get done with me, you can move on and actually go out and get the bad guys. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm thinking about when I'm dealing with the police, when my interactions with the police. Now, I will say this, and I don't see why there's no way I could not say this, I should say. There is a racial profiling part to law enforcement. There is a whatever a prejudice aspect to that. And in a lot of instances, color does have a lot to do with it. So when you're talking about, hey, have I been pulled over while driving black? Yes, I have. Absolutely, I have. Have I been searched? Have a dog ran around my car? Had an officer tear my car apart thinking I got drugs or whatever? I have had that. And at the end of the day, it was a waste of my time. It definitely pissed me off to the highest level of pistivity. But at the end of the day, it's like it wasn't something that I said, well, I understand why he did it. No, it was bullshit as to why he did it. It was a bogus stop. I mean, it was a bogus search. He basically tried to lie to me. He basically lied to me and told me why he was searching me. But I can't really say shit because I had just so happened to have expired license plate tags. They were out of state. I was driving in Michigan and I got pulled over. I had Illinois plates and the tag was expired. It was like, I want to say it was like maybe a month expired or something like that. So he had probable cause to pull me over. At the end of the day, he had probable cause to pull me over. And from there, he took it where he wanted to take it. And there wasn't really anything I could do because I was already riding dirty. He had probable cause to stop me. So it was like, at the end of the day, when he pulled me over, he told me, well, you know why he pulled me over? And I was like, yup. However, here's where the rub comes in and where the bullshit is. If I'm driving on the expressway this way and you driving on the expressway that way, how do you get behind me? Why would you come get behind me? You know why? Because you see a black dude at at 8 o'clock in the morning driving on the expressway in a black Cadillac, and what do you instantly think? Drug dealer. So you definitely turn around and you follow me. At the end of the day, that's where the profiling piece comes in. Black guy driving a Cadillac. I'm going to bet he's a drug dealer. I'm going to bet he got a gun. I'm going to bet he got something illegal. That's what he's going to do because of the simple fact that what is the image or of most black people that drive Cadillacs? Would you say that they dope dealers? Would you say that they gangbangers? Nope. But a young black guy driving a Cadillac, hey, I just might think that. Could he see that I was a young black guy? Absolutely not. He saw a black face driving a Cadillac and he turned around and said, I'm going to follow it. And when he turned around and followed it, he said, he got expired tags. I'm going to pull him over and shoot my shot. He did that. Pulled me over. Nothing I could do. I said, okay, this is your world. How you want to do this? He says, well, you got anything in the car? You got any drugs in the car? Nope. You got any guns in the car? Nope. You have anything illegal? No, sir. So then he said, well, what I want to do is I have my dog in the car and I want to run my dog. I then said, officer, I understand what you are telling me you want to do. However, I'm going to say I don't give you permission to search this vehicle because of the simple fact I'm dressed in a Best Buy Geek Squad work shirt because I'm on my way to work. It's 8 o'clock in the morning and I'm clean cut. And sir, I come from a family of law enforcement. There's no way in the world I would shame myself or my name by riding around with something like that in my vehicle. You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm going to search it anyway. All right, I'm going to run my dog. Whatever you going to do. So now I see what it is. He going to do what he going to do anyway because he's in that authoritative position. And I said, okay, what do you want? How do you want to proceed? Well, I'd like for you to step out, and then I'm going to put you in my vehicle. Come on, let's do this. So he gets me out. Go ahead, he pats me down. I, of course, ain't got shit but my keys and my wallet or whatever. He done seen my insurance. He done seen my license. Get me back to the vehicle. He gets his car. He gets his dog out. Takes his dog out. He walks his dog around the vehicle. Dog doesn't do a damn thing and sits. He then comes back to the car and he tells me the dog indicated that there's something in the trunk. Is there something in the trunk? I said, hold on, man. I said, now, I get why you doing what you doing and you want to run your dog. And I said, but at the end of the day, I have seen a police dog. I know how police dogs function, especially those that are trained for drugs. I said that dog did not indicate. He actually walked around the vehicle and sat. He didn't bark and he didn't scratch at anything. I said, you even picked the dog up and held his nose up to the trunk so that he could sniff, and the dog did nothing. I said, but you know what? At the end of the day, I know you're going to do what you want to do. I said, but you're not going to lie to my face and tell me that dog indicated. So it is what it is, man. And he looked at me, well, he indicated. I said, he didn't, but go ahead, do what you're going to do, I guess. I was like, but I don't give you consent to search my vehicle. He goes, search the vehicle, pops the trunk, all of that stuff, go through the whole vehicle. Now, I tell him, I said, hey, man, I had a custom install. Shout out to my boys at Best Buy Geek Squad on 87, the old store 1122, KP and Los. They hooked me up, but I had a custom install sound system in my trunk. And I had certain panels and stuff because I had amps and subs, and they were all lit up. It was cold-blooded. And I told him, I said, hey, man, I have a custom install in my trunk. You need to be very careful with taking that stuff apart. I was like, because it ain't no drugs in there, but be careful taking that stuff, going through that stuff. Yeah, I'll try. Being an asshole. And he went through it. Didn't find a damn thing. We talking about some 45 minutes later, this dude done went through my car, ran his dog twice around my vehicle. Nothing. Nada. Right? So now he comes to me, and because he ain't find nothing, now he pissed, but he done wasted his time. What is he gonna do? He gonna write me a ticket for my tags. Go ahead, player. You got me. At the end of the day, I was profiled. He came up short, but he still had me. He still had me because I was riding dirty. It was like if I would have had my tags, I could have been on a whole different level, and I could have been like, why you pull me over? What you pull me over for? I want to supervise. I could have went through the whole shebang, but because I didn't, I had dirty tags, nothing I could do. Tags expired. They're not supposed to be expired. I can pull you over, and I can use my authority to say what I think or what I believe to be, and that's why I can proceed. And that's exactly what he did. So at the end of the day, me knowing what it is that I had did wrong, it kept him from going a whole nother way, because it could have wound up with me being on the dash cam talking about he racist and he pulled me over and he did all of this and the dog jumped out on me and then bit me and he done wound up shooting me and now I'm dead, and now, you know, my family is suing and trying to get some type of civil lawsuit together to get some money. But at the end of the day, I knew where it was I was at. I knew what was happening. And because I knew the law, I knew how to proceed. I knew how to say what I wanted to say to that officer and to let him know that I knew he was on some bullshit, but he still had me and I had to comply. So it's that simple. When you know what it is that you dealing with, and when you know the law, then you will know how to either govern yourself or you will know how to address another individual in law enforcement. So he did what he wanted to do. He tried to come up. And it's like, when you think about it, a black dude driving a Cadillac and he supposed to be at work, I'm going to pull that guy over every time I can legally, because you never know. Because I could have had 4 keys or 4 bricks of weed in that car under that install, and it ain't like cats don't do that. You know what I'm saying? I know cats that do that. So it's like, I could have done that. I mean, at the end of the day, I would have probably pulled me over too. I probably would have just ran my dog once and just let him go if my dog didn't, you know, go crazy, because I've seen dogs do that. You know what I'm saying? I've seen dogs hit the drugs and they go crazy. they scratch, they bark, they jap out because they've been trained to do that. These dogs ain't no most when you talking about police dogs, especially like those shepherds and those, I think it's Malinois, I think that's what they call it. It's a German dog. Those dogs, man, those dogs cost upwards of $3,500, man. Upwards. The training and all that kind of stuff gets into the tens of thousands of dollars, dude. Those dogs are very expensive, depending on what they're trained for, whether they're trained for drugs or whether they're trained for explosives. Those dogs are the shit. They are top notch. Those dogs are badass. Those dogs can take a piece of clothing, dude, and you can let them sniff it, and you can take them out to a field, and they will find and track down a motherfucker with just that one little scent. Those dogs can find keys in the snow. They are very well trained. They cost a shitload of money to train, to buy, and to maintain. Trust me, if a drug dog go crazy, a drug dog know what he talking about. It is very seldom that you will see a drug dog indicate and there not be nothing there, or there's no residue or no remnants actually at the end of the day. So it's like when I saw that dog and that dog didn't indicate, in my mind I'm like, told you, homie. Now what? And then he came back and tried to tell me that bullshit. That's why I had to let him know. So it's like at the end of the day, he was still able to do what he wanted to do, but I was able to tell him in a non-combative way, dude, I know you on some bullshit and you just trying to shoot your shot. Go ahead, do what you got to do. So it's like that's the difference in what it is when you're talking about knowing the law and breaking the law and being able to be subjected to the law or that law enforcement officer. And that's pretty much what happened. That was just a situation where I knew that, hey, it was nothing I can do. And you have to keep that in mind. When you go out in the streets and you riding around and you riding dirty, if you get pulled over for whatever reason, know that at the end of the day, it is what it is. And you broke the law. So it's like whether it's a tail light, headlight, flashlight, whatever it is, make sure that you riding right. So when you do get pulled over, you don't have to continue to be subjected to what that officer wants to do. You know what I'm saying? Because I could have gotten pulled over in that very same instant, and had my tags been right and he pulled me over and just made some shit up, I would have still been stopped. But when he would have came to that dog shit, I could have been like, you know what? I need a supervisor out here, man. Get me a supervisor. And that, at the end of the day, is one of those phrases that you need to know and know when to use it. When a police officer pulls you over and a police officer puts you in a situation where you being detained and he's asking you questions, whatever the case may be, if you feel as though you are in compliance with the law and that officer's on some bullshit and he's just fucking with you, ask for a supervisor. That whole thing of telling the officer what you're not going to do is going to get your ass whooped or get you locked up. If you are in a situation where you feel as though this officer is fucking with me and he might do something to me, he come up to you and he got his gun out on you or whatever the case may be, and you feel as though your life is in danger, call 911 if you can. If he's telling you to keep your hands sealed, then you keep them there. But at the end of the day, you have every right to keep your hands up on that dashboard and tell that officer, I request that you call a supervisor out here immediately because I feel that my life is in danger. I do not feel safe with you. I would like for you to have a supervisor come out here instantly. And if he tells you, well, you go get out the car first, you're going to do this first, I will keep my hands right here. I will keep my hands hanging out this window, sir, but you will call a supervisor if you would like for me to proceed. I do not mind complying with you, but I don't want to do so until your supervisor gets here or a supervisor. At the end of the day, if you can get to a phone, if you think a police officer has fucked with you in the past and as you think he about to fuck with you again, when you get pulled over, hit that 911, put that phone on speaker, set it on the dashboard, keep your hands up and out the window, and you explain to that dispatch officer that dispatch person what is going on. Yes, I would like to request I am being pulled over right now by one of your police officers because everywhere that you go, that 911 center is going to be locked in on your phone. So you tell them to say, hey, I'm here, I'm on the expressway, I'm on this street, whatever the case may be. I feel as though that I would like to have a supervisor out here. I believe that this officer is harassing me. I believe that this officer is treating me, and the way that he's treating me, I do not feel safe. And I am requesting a supervisor on site immediately. And at the end of the day, you can stay on the phone with dispatch. Dispatch cannot hang up on you. That is a law. They cannot disconnect that call with you. If they tell you, okay, sir, we'll send somebody out right now, call us back, you tell them, I do not want you to hang up. I would like for you to stay on the phone with me until that supervisor arrives. Because that call is recorded, and that call you can get a copy of that call. If for some reason that ever happens, don't wait 6 months. You get a copy of that call within the next 72 hours. You can get a copy of that phone call. You can request it, and then they will say, I said flashlight, and they will say, they will give you produce you a copy of that call. So make sure that if you ever in that situation and you think that you being harassed or whatever, get on the phone before that officer gets out that car. And once you dial that number, hit 911 speaker, place that phone on the dash, not on the seat, not in between your arm cushion, not under your seat. Place it on the dashboard and stick your hands out the window. Or put your hands on the top part of that steering wheel with your fingers open. All right? When you do that and you are in a position of submission. At the end of the day, police officers, we are trained that at the end of the day, the only thing that can hurt you is hands. Hands are what hurt you. That is why when we are watching or there's an officer, they should be a well-trained officer knows to watch your hands. He can listen to you. He can hear inflections in your voice. He can watch your movements, but he should be paying very close attention to your hands because hands are what hurt you. At the end of the day, that is definitely something that you need to always remember, even as a person. If you in a fight, if you in a situation where everybody is if you in a situation where you may need to feel like you might have to fight or something like that, or you don't know what people got, watch people's hands when you feel like you in danger or some shit is about to jump off or things are feeling shady. Watch hands. Hands are what hurt you. That's it. Nothing else. Hands are what hurt you. So, that's definitely just something you need to make sure that you are cognizant of. Anytime that you are in a stop, when you're being stopped by a police officer, make sure that you are submitting to what it is they want to do. Ask questions at the right time. Okay? So, case in point, one of the things that with me living where I live, I carry I have a concealed pistol license. So that means that I carry a firearm, and I usually have that firearm on me at all times. You got a better chance of catching me without draws on than you do catching me without my pistol. I keep my pistol with me. I keep it on me. I love it being next to me, on my side, on my hip, on my ankle, wherever I'm carrying it, under my arm. I like for it. It's an appendage. I like it like I like my fingers. I like it like I like my toes. I like it like I like my hands. I like to have it with me. I like to feel it and know that it's there. It is a great tool to have in the day-to-day life in this world and in this land of America. I keep it with me at all times. Because of that, I have to also be responsible and understand the fact that when I am out and I have this tool with me, that in a situation to where I am stopped by a law enforcement officer, I must be cognizant and understand what it is that I'm doing, and I have to notify that officer. Here is the script that I was taught, and this is the script that I have used and what I listen for. Okay, so I get pulled over for whatever reason. Officer approaches the vehicle. He says, "How you doing?" Or he says, "What the fuck you doing?" Or he says, "Hey, you motherfucker, what you doing out here this late?" I am then going to respond and say, "Hello, officer. My name is Brian Redmond. I have a concealed pistol license, and I am carrying a loaded firearm on me now. How would you like to proceed?" At the end of the day, I'm going to say it one more time. "Good evening, good afternoon, or good morning, officer. I have a concealed pistol license. I am carrying a loaded firearm on me now. How would you like to proceed?" Okay? How would you like to proceed means just that. You are putting the ball back in that person's court. The phone line is responding. That's because I don't have the phone on, and I ain't blocked you yet. Let me finish my diatribe here. Got about 6 more minutes before I cut the phone lines on. So then I give that control back over to that officer. I've given him information, and now it is up to him to proceed however he wants. Now, I've had where an officer has told me, oh, man, hey, I don't care about that. As long as you don't pull it out, we're good. Smart officer at the end of the day. Now, there are officers as well who think that they're scared, or they think they're big shots or badasses, and they want to disarm you. You're not going to have no goddamn firearm while I'm questioning you. And they want to get you out the car, have you spread them. Then they want to take your firearm out. They want to unload your firearm, break it down, put your shit on the hood. And then and in some cases, they'll even tend to talk about your shit. Oh, your slide's dirty or this. Those are assholes at the end of the day. Because first and foremost, it's like, I want to say it's something like only is a small percentage of people that even carry legal firearms. And those people are 99% of the time, you're fucking good guys. Those are because you can't just go and get a firearm and you're a felon. So those people that carry firearms are 9 times out of 10, you're good guys. They are people that are your law-abiding citizens. Why you want to put them through the ringer is because you're an asshole if you're doing that. So at the end of the day, if you pull over, or if I pull over somebody and they have a concealed pistol license, if anything, I would ask them to produce that when they produce their driver's license and insurance. I'd be like, yep. I'd be like, well, here's what we're going to do, man. Which side is your firearm on? All right, I'm the officer. I'm going to say, which side is your firearm on? It's on my right side. Your hands are up. Great. All right, where's your wallet? My wallet, tell me, don't show me. Keep your hands where they at. Keep your hands where I can keep your hands up here on the steering wheel, man. Tell me where your wallet is. My wallet's on my left side. Okay, here's what we're going to do, man. I'm going to take my light, shine it in there, all right? My hand will be resting on my firearm, which is holstered. Now, I may have the little top part down, the little level 2 part down, level 2 lock part down, but I'm then going to say, okay, man, take your left hand and go ahead and pull out your ID, your wallet. Now, at that time, all I'm doing, because hands are the only thing that can hurt me, is that I'm looking at his hands. And I'm looking for a gun, nothing else. He has to show me something different. I'm looking, and I'm going to see, do I see a gun? Do I see a gun? No, 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 no. Cool. He got his wallet out. Now, go ahead, sir, and produce that license. And if you can, produce that CPL for me. Now we are in a safe place. We good. Your hands are up top where you can see him. I know where your gun is. I'm not trying to go through that. Now, if for some reason I get to that car and that dude tells me that exact same thing and I smell liquor, or I smell marijuana, or I smell something that appears to be some type of substance that he may be smoking, or whatever the case may be, now I'm going to take it to that point to where I do want to disarm that guy. And the reason why I want to disarm that guy is because down the line in this interaction, if I'm going to give him a sobriety test, I damn sure don't want him to have a firearm on him when I ask him. So I would proceed with something like this. Oh, okay, so you got your firearm on you? Cool, man. What kind is it? Reason why I'm going to ask him what kind it is because I want to be comfortable. I want to make him comfortable. I want him to tell me about something that he absolutely knows and probably loves about, because most people that select their own firearms, they love the firearm that they have, and they believe that firearm is the best firearm ever. So if he tells me, hey, I got a 45 1911, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's a nice one. What kind of, who makes it? Is it made by Browning, or is it made by Kimber, or is it made by Wilson Combat? You know what I'm saying? I'm going to ask him something that he can tell me about so that I can relax him and get him more at ease. And then I'm going to say, well, here's what I want you to do, man. I want you to take those hands and I want you to stick them out this window. I'm going to open your car door, and then I want you to step out and put your hands on top of the hood. Now, what I'm doing is I am giving him a series of commands, no more than 3 at a time, and I'm instructing him to step out of the vehicle. I am not about to tell him what I'm about to do. Now, if he asks me, And if he says, well, why you want me to get out the car? I'm going to be like, well, sir, because you told me that you have a firearm, and even though it's legal, I want to be safe and I don't want to be nervous. So I want you to step out of the vehicle so that I can disarm you. Now, at that point, once I've let him know what my intentions are, if he goes and he tries to deflect, if he tries to tell me something different, what I can or what I can't do, I'm on some bullshit, or I'm fucking with him, now I am going to perceive the fact that there is something else going on, or that he's trying to hide something, or that this motherfucker is one of that 1% that is actually on some bullshit and could be breaking the law. So now I am going to take a more assertive position, and I'm going to tell him, hey man, because I've asked him already, I'm already at one, I'm going to tell him what he's going to do. And I'm going to say, sir, I understand that, but here's what you're going to do. You're going to stick your hands out this window. I'm going to open this door, and then I am going to have you step out, and you're going to put your hands on the hood. If he continues to be combative, if he continues to tell me what he's not going to do, or he's trying to procrastinate or stall, now, hopefully, I'm pretty sure I got my partner with me, and I'm going to tell him, hey, we about to get this motherfucker out this car, and it's time to put a gun on this dude because he's bullshitting. Because at the end of the day, if you clean and you good, then at the end of the day, you ain't got no problems and you compliant. If you trying to deflect, you trying to complain, and you're trying to do everything but what I'm asking you to do, then I'm going to think you're a bad guy. I'm going to think that you're on some bullshit, and I am going to go to the next level before you do. So at the end of the day, I just might break leather, and depending on what you saying to me and how you talking to me, I might go tuck ready, and you just might get a gun pointed at you. Because at the end of the day, a person who is procrastinating, a person who is lying, he's trying to cognitive think on what he is about to do to me. And I have to stay a step ahead of him so he doesn't get the jump on me. That's what I'm going to think. That's what my tactical mind is going to start doing. And at the end of the day, most police officers should do the exact same thing. However, the problem is that a good portion of them are not comfortable with doing that, and they get scared, and that's how people get shot. It's just that fast, because all of this is taking place in a matter of seconds. Things escalate in a matter of seconds, and the next thing you know, 1 minute you go from a traffic stop pulling the guy over to where you are exchanging fire with somebody because that person feels as though that warrant that he has, or that particular the fact that he had been drinking a little bit and he gonna go to jail, he would rather, because he's not in his right mind, he would rather exchange gunfire with you and try to get away than to go ahead and submit to the law and probably wind up going to jail for the night. As stupid as that sounds, that's what happens. So that's with a legally carrying person. Now, what about the bad guy? What about the asshole, the gangbanger, the dude that just don't get no fuck, that's thug life, nigga? What about that guy? Then that is the guy that you see on TV. That's the guy that you think is always out here. That's the guy that you think is trying to keep you from getting home to your family. You're going to be on even more edge than that. Not that you should be, but because so many, and this is one of my biggest things about the police. One of my biggest things about the police is that there are so many of them out here that are not well trained. And what I mean by that is they do not have enough time with the FTOs. We call those field training officers. Your FTO is basically your seasoned veteran police officers. It's usually, maybe they usually spend time with 2 or 3 of them within the first like 60 to 90 days. And they spend that time with them learning the ropes, learning how to fill out reports, learning how to contact people, and getting that type of experience hands-on. The problem with that is that process is not long enough, in my opinion. I think that a lot of police officers do not get a lot of FTO training. They don't get enough because of shortages in the police department. They need people to be on certain shifts because most police departments work 12-hour shifts. So you have a lot of guys that are just, they need to have guys out in the streets in those cars to help, police the area, and they don't give those guys enough time. I would personally say, if it was my world, if there was a federal law, I would say that the average cadet that comes onto any police department, he needs to be with his FTO for a minimum of 8 to 12 months. And that's every day in that car with a seasoned veteran that has at least 8 years of experience. That would be my own personal opinion, because a police officer that's been around for 8 years, he's gone through that phase of just being a new cop, being a badass. He's gone through that phase of actually, thinking that he got this power, he can do whatever the fuck he wants because he's the police. He has gone past that point now to where he understands that job. And at the end of the day, from a policeman's job, and this is something that my father explained to me when I asked him about what it is that he do one day. This is as a young boy. And he said, you know what my job is, son? I said, no, Dad. I said, what do the police do? He said, my job is to help people. And I know in the beginning when I was talking about the whole serve and protect thing, that's the legality part of it. The police job is not to save you. The police job is not to do what you think they should do, what you feel is right. The police job is for them to serve and protect. However, a real policeman, a good police is what we would call him, a good police officer understands that his job is to help people. Help people, because 9 times out of 10, when a person sees the police, they are in trouble. They are in a situation that they can no longer handle, or that they need help from or rescuing from, whatever the case may be. And it should be that policeman's job and mindset to where he's thinking, what can I do to best help this person? Is it locking him up? Is it locking her up? Is it locking them up? Or is it me having a conversation with this one, having a conversation with that one, and everybody going home and everybody still being safe? Because at the end of the day, that is what a police officer does. That is what he basically comes in and he solves problems, or he locks people up, whatever the case may be, depending on his own judgment and based on what his perception of what the situation is and if any laws have been broken. So that is what I mean by that as far as that training thing, because at the end of the day, most people, you have to go through more training hours in cosmetology school than you do as a police to become a police officer. And we're talking about somebody who carries a gun and a badge and has the authority to shoot and kill your ass at the end of the day. And most of the time will be justified. So that in itself is a problem. And it's like that. Another thing, too, that I think that's huge about the police should have to, in order for you to be able to be the police, you should have to live where you police. So if I want to police in this particular area, it needs to be an area that I live in. And one of the ways that you can do that is to make sure that that you in your neighborhood and you growing up, we need to encourage our children to be the police. Encourage our kids to be the police so that they will police us. We will have those police. How wonderful would it be to know your police officer, not because he around every day, but because you grew up with him? That's a whole different interaction. If I go on the scene as a law enforcement officer and I go and knock on the door and there's somebody that's in a domestic, for instance, which is one of the worst calls that police officers go on. You get there to a domestic and it's in progress. It's so much easier when I ring the doorbell and the dude knows me and the woman knows me because we went to the same goddamn grammar school together than it is for them to know me only because this is the 5th time I done been to their house. There's a much better relationship. There's a much better rapport that I'm going to have with those people because I live in their community. I live down the street, next door. I know their mama. I know their grandmama. I know their uncles. I know their aunties because we all in the same community. So it's like now I have an advantage. Now I have an upper hand to say, well, this is what it is. This is what's happening. Tell me what's going on. What y'all doing? Why the hell we get here? Why am I here? You know what I'm saying? I was just at your house last weekend for a barbecue. Now I'm here on the domestic because somebody done slapped some damn body. That's a big difference. And it's like now you have the rapport to where you can say those type of things. And that person is not going to think, oh, well, you just here because you want to lock my black ass up, or you just on his side, so that's why you here so you can lock me up again. Totally different when you live in the same community that you police. And I'm not talking about just moved in because you've been on the force for 6 months. Now you living there. I'm talking about being somewhere in a community that you grew up in and that you know well, you know the people there, and you have a relationship with those people already. Now you can truly help them and you can truly police that area because you know the area and you know the people. However, that's not the case. We have a lot of people that a lot of these police officers, the young, and I'm gonna call it what it is, a lot of the young Caucasian police officers or young Hispanic police officers that have never been in a black neighborhood, aside from the times when they drove through there, or that one black kid that they know is the only black experience that they have. That's a problem, because the only thing, and the reason why that's a problem, is because the only narrative that you have and the only knowledge that you have of black people is what you see on TV. And the image of black people on TV, when it comes to being young, when it comes to being a black, and especially when it comes to being male, it is negative. They always showing the bank robber, gang banger, drug dealer on TV that's young and black, and that's a male. The young black female is always fighting or cussing or going after some black dude, whatever the case may be, and caught up in some type of scandal, whatever it is. That's exactly what they see. So it's not that that's what they want to know, it's what they program with. They already have that preconceived notion about what it is they're about to deal with. So when they go into the ghetto, and it's like, all right, you in the ghetto now, man, you on the front line, you in the thick of the shit, and you young, and you a police officer, you've been training, you've been working out, your testosterone is pumping and shit, you've been hitting your weights, you got your guns, you got your gun on your hip, your gun on your arm, you ready. So you looking, yeah, I want one of these gangbanger dudes come up against me. I'm gonna show them what time it is. So now you on edge, and now you have the wrong mentality, because you're now looking for the confrontation, because you want to prove yourself to some people that you never met, and to some people that you already working with, to show that you're a badass and you're gonna be a great cop, and you're gonna do it at the expense of fucking up some black kid, or going or using excessive force with some black dude, or using excessive force with some Mexican dude, or using excessive force with some guy that may be breaking the law, but don't deserve the level of force that you are administering to that person, because you have a misconceived idea of what it is you're actually dealing with. So it's like, if I tell you, hey man, we're gonna go bear hunting, you're thinking instantly about a big 8-foot tall grizzly bear that's coming at you to kill you, because he ain't ate in 6 months and you his only meal. That's what you thinking. So you gotta shoot him. I gotta shoot him. He gonna kill me. That's the idea and the concept that you have about these people that's in the ghettos, that's in these rough areas, these rough communities, because that's all you see on the news, is that they shooting, they killing each other, and if they killing each other, what do you think they're gonna do to you? And to that point, it's true. However, you still have the upper hand, because you have the opportunity to perceive that and know what it is you're dealing with. And then based on what you see, if you have that mentality already, now you can adjust it and say, well, this is what I'm seeing. This is what I know it could be, but that's not necessarily what it is. And until I see that, then that is, I will react accordingly. And the only way you can do that, the only way you can process that, is by training, being out with a seasoned veteran who knows the area, who knows how to do things, who knows the people, and can tell you what to do. So you will be more aware of your own surroundings and the people that you police. When you don't have that training, you don't know. You don't know what to do. You scared. You want to come home, because or you're that asshole that want to get you one. You want to prove yourself. You want to show the world what time it is and what's happening. So that is what I mean by basically making sure that you have the right mentality and the right mindset. You know the law, and you know how to handle yourself and conduct yourself with law enforcement, because that is what's really important, and that determines if you go home or not, if you go to jail or not, or if you die or not at the end of the day. I think I hit all my points. Yep, we talked about the traffic stop. Sweet. Oh, my last thing. Well, I was kind of hitting on this already. Need people skills centered around another thing too that law enforcement needs. They need people skills centered around the use of the force continuum and de-escalation techniques first. So force continuum, for those who don't know what that is, real quick, all that is basically knowing the level of force that you can go to, or the next level of force that you can exhibit based on what the other person shows you. So it's like, if a person tries to verbally abuse, verbally reprimand you, or somebody is giving, I'm sorry, not verbally reprimand, but if somebody is being verbally combative with you, then you can go hands on. That's the next level of force. If they going if you going hands on, that person goes hands on with you. Well, now you can go to the next level, which is using some type of non-lethal device like pepper spray or something like that. If that person goes with a weapon or something like that, now you can use some type of deadly force or something like that, which is your firearm, whatever the case may be. So that's basically the force continuum. It's just showing you the level of how you escalate, and based on what's presented to you and what situation you're in, what's the next level of force. So it's like if a person is telling you, you son of a bitch, I can't stand you, that don't mean that you go and pull your gun out and point your gun at that person and cock the hammer back. Because that, at the end of the day, you done skip multiple levels of the force continuum, and now you went from somebody who's exhibiting verbal combativeness to use of deadly force. That's going outside of the force continuum. So it's like knowing that and knowing how that works, that's something that a lot of law enforcement officers need to know, because just like when that guy went and the Fidel Castillo incident, that guy, when that law enforcement officer, when he approached that dude, he had no reason to even have his gun tucked ready. And that's where he was, to where, and with him going through that situation, he didn't give the correct commands. He didn't give the right verbal commands on how he wanted to proceed. Because at the end of the day, that dude, number one, was on the passenger side. He was not the driver. Part two to that is, if you're going to go after the driver because you think he a bad guy, then you need to go after him the right way, which is to arrest him or to get him under arrest or get him in a subdued state. And pulling your gun on him when he has not exhibited any type of combativeness towards you was wrong. He jumped the gun literally by doing that. Even though that dude could have had a goddamn rocket launcher strapped onto his back. If my hands are here, that rocket launcher is posing no threat to you. And there is a way for you to proceed to get that rocket launcher from me. And this is, let me say this too. One of the things that I was taught when I was going through training, law enforcement training, when you going hands-on, when you're in a life or death situation, whatever the case may be, and what a lot of police officers tend not to do or tend not to even conceive in their mind, is to the idea of retreating. It's okay to retreat if you gonna live. If I go hands-on with a dude and this dude is bigger than me or the same size, or he knows some goddamn jujitsu, and I put my hands on him and he do some karate shit and do the Bruce Lee 3-inch punch, boom, and send me back 13, 14 feet and I fall, I'm not going to get up and say, you son of a bitch, I'll show you. I'm going to be like, hold up, let me pull my gun out and back the fuck up. Because at the end of the day, if he drunk and all he using is his hands, I'm not trying to shoot him because of that. Now, I may need to call, hey, I need to back up here. Let me get a cold 10. Let me get the chains off the doors. Let me get 18 people that I need everybody. I need everybody come here. I need help right now. I'm going to do that at the end of the day. So when you have an opportunity to retreat, when you being overpowered or outmatched, do that. And a lot of officers don't want to do it because it fucks with their ego. A lot of officers don't want to do it because they're trying to prove a point to not just themselves, but to their fellow police officers. And they're going to kick this guy's ass. I'll show him who's tough. I'm going to show you, show enough. That's what he's thinking in his mind. That's an inside joke, some of my Xbox cats. But that's what people think. And that's what a lot of these young, untrained officers or officers that have had very little training, that is what they will do. And they will fuck around and either get themselves really hurt really bad, or they will get themselves in a deeper situation than what they thought, and they bite off more than they can chew and wind up either having to use deadly force or dying. Because at the end of the day, too, when law enforcement officers do have to use deadly force, and I know about this because I've know several officers that have had to use their weapons, and just in me asking them about that, it's something that it changes you, man. Taking a life, and when you take a life for the wrong reasons, is quite damaging. Taking a life for the right reasons, to where say, hey, this guy was going to kill me, he was going to kill my partner, he was going to kill this old lady, whatever the case may be, that's totally different than you having bad judgment and knowing that you killed somebody that you could have let live had you handled yourself differently, had you been more trained and more experienced. So that's huge. Always keep that in mind for those law enforcement officers that are watching this. It's okay to retreat, man. It is okay to back up and regroup. It's okay to disengage from being hands-on if you can. If you see somebody's getting the better of you, Disengage instead of trying to prove yourself, because you can get hurt really bad, or you can hurt them really bad, wind up getting sued, or you can go somewhere that you really don't want to go, and that's using deadly force. I know plenty of officers who have gotten rotator cuffs torn, who've gotten their knees blown out, torn meniscus down for 6 to 8 months or whatever, can't walk right. I've known plenty of officers that's happened to because they've gotten into a scuffle, and some of them have said, looking back at it now, I probably didn't even have to go there, but I went there because he pissed me off. He ran and made me run. I was tired. He hit me, got a shot in on me. You know what I'm saying? He hit me in the ribs or some shit like that, and I went too far, and I wound up hurting my damn self. We found up falling down the stairs, and that's how I shattered my knee. So that happens. You know what I'm saying? I guess I pretty much covered all the stuff I want to cover. So let me ask you guys, do y'all want to do a Google Hangout, or do y'all want to just take some calls and y'all can call in and we can chop it up that way? Y'all let me know what y'all want to do. Hangout or phone calls? So I think that, like I said, I hope that this video helps both sides. I hope it really makes people understand the fact that, yes, there are police officers that will fuck with you. However, it's unavoidable in the sense when you don't know the law. When a police officer knows that you know the law, they will treat you different. When a police officer see that you know how to handle yourself and you know how to articulate being pulled over, it makes things different. It makes it a different approach. It takes things to a point to where hey, this could happen or that could happen, but at the end of the day, I see what it is that this guy is doing, so let me approach it in a different way. This guy kind of knows what he's talking about. He kind of knows the law a little bit. Well, let me show him some respect because he's trying to show me respect. Now, you do have police officers that have bad days and are just assholes. But then you do have police officers, and this happens a lot of times, that give a lot of good people a lot of breaks, and they give some bad people breaks. So it's I would definitely say this, and this is the one of the main reasons why I'm not a big BLM guy, is because the small percentage of asshole cops and bad police, it is not even close, or as Boyce Watkins says, it's a sliver of the good compared to the good police that are out here, to the police that just do their job, and to the police that go above and beyond. It is a small percentage. We have more people, especially in the black community and the black neighborhoods. It's more of us trying to fuck us up and kill us than it is of bad asshole police officers that are doing us harm, beating our asses when we don't, get physical with them, slapping us around, pulling a gun on us, and taking things to a 10 when they're really just a 2. It's way more of us that are robbing each other, fighting each other, stealing on each other and from each other, and shooting each other on a daily basis. It's way more us doing that than it is the police officers that are doing it. Way more. And the fact that we blow that shit up out of proportion, and we don't blow up what we do to each other out of proportion, that to me is where I call bullshit. Because I cannot expect somebody who does not look like me and who does not live where I live and live the type of life that I live, I can't expect them to give a shit about me and to treat me with dignity and respect when those that live where I live and those that look the way I look don't do the same thing. You can't ask somebody to do something for you or to respect you or treat you some type of way when you don't do it yourself. When your people won't do it themselves. When your people ain't taking care of each other. And people always talk about the police been pigs and they've been doing this kind of shit since back in the 60s. Well, back in the 60s, you look back in the 60s and doing the Black Panther days and all that shit, them black people back then, it wasn't that many black people shooting and killing each other for no goddamn reason. Now, you had your pimps, your players, your hustlers, and your pimps and your gangbangers back in the 60s that was on that fuck shit, that was doing that crazy shit back then, but they did it amongst each other. They had at least enough respect for each other to say, we ain't gonna get civilians involved in the fuckery that we own. If you in the game, game on. If you out the game, I ain't got no problem with you. And back then, if you was one of those people where you made the mistake of doing something to somebody who wasn't in that life, they held you accountable. Those people came and got you and turned you in after they whipped your ass well. So it was a code, it was an honor amongst these back then that is not even close to being resembled or present right now. So, all right, so I got take some calls and hangouts. I'm feeling real good about myself and I'm gonna try to see if I can do both. So hold on, good people. Let me see if I can get this thing going where we can do both of these things and we can make some magic happen. Let's see here. All right. So first things first, let's do this here. And we're going to do broadcast right now. And we're going to do, let's see. Yeah, we'll do that. And, yep. Today is the 6th, or is today the 7th? Yeah, today is the 7th. We on Monday. Go live now. Duration. Yep. All right. And bow. Okay. Yep. There we go. And away we go. Let's go ahead and call in. Get this cracking. Do 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 do. Then I'm gonna try to see if I can get real beside myself and do this hangout. We gonna see if we can get it jumping. So just bear with me for a second, and we gonna get it going. Let's see here. I got a girl who's always late. Every time we have a date, but I love her. I'm gonna ask her, is you is or is you ain't my baby? Or has my baby found somebody new? Baba dee do do day. Is you still my baby, baby? What the hell? Is my baby still my baby true? A woman is a creature that's always been strange. Just when you think she's made her mind, she's gone and made a change. Or is you ain't my baby? Or has my baby found somebody new? Oh, I think I did. I know what I did wrong. Alrighty. We just gonna keep it simple. TRR. Police brutality. There we go. Police brutality chat. Alright, and let's go to broadcast. The date. I guess I'm gonna set it back. Oh no, that's right. And then I'm gonna do, yep. Okay, that should be it, man. Okay. All right. So, Oh, wait, nope, that is not it. Just when I thought it was all good. He said if I keep singing this type of music. Yes, sir. Let's see. Is that another episode? Nope. Create episode. I think that's what I gotta do. Create a broadcast. I wanna go live now. And I wanna set my time. Walking the mile, walking the mile. Then I want to, title is Please Brutality. Oh, that's why I didn't hit that second line. These, and then this one. Yep. These Brutality chat. There we go. All right, now that should be it. There's the go live. Now it's creating. And now I can call this number. Boom. There it is. Sweet. Oh, yeah. Beautiful. My host pin. Boop.
To start your show now, press 1. To hear more. Your show is scheduled to start in 19 seconds.
Sweet. All right. All right.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3,
2, 1. There it is. Bingo. Bingo. Pekino. Skate. There we go. Yes. To the brothers. Yes. Whoo. Daddy Longstroke. Ooh. What y'all know about that? Daddy Longstroke. When I say gamma, you say pump. Gamma pump. Gamma pump. When I say gamma, you say pump. Gamma pump. Gamma pump. When I say gamma, you say pump. Gamma pump. Gamma pump. Gamma pump. Pump. Gamma pump. Pump. All right, so now we should be in, and there we go. You are now in the host queue. All right, so now you guys can call in. The number is on the screen, 646-787-8585. Like when the Bears won the Super Bowl, baby. 1985, the number. That's actually 89, that Public Enemy. Get down. Sound of a funky drummer. All right, now let's see if I can do this young Jugal hangout. Let's see here. Oh, chap. Hello. Good day, sir. All right, I'm going to go ahead and let's close that. Close that. Link is clipped to clipboard. And boop, 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 boop. Boom, 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 boom. And let's see. Yep, I got that. And I got that. All right. Now, let's see if I can get somebody in here on the Google. I'm going to put it in the chat for those who want to do the young hangout. Bow. There it is. And let me see if I can get that over here. Over here. In here. It's Blank Man. He has a code. You wouldn't understand. Alright, let's look and see. Look into my eyes and tell me what it is you would you look into my eyes. I almost fucked up. Because that is this, good sir. So I need to add another. I thought I had another one. But I guess I don't. So let's go to add, and I'm gonna do a window capture. And that window capture is number 2. And oh yeah, I did. I changed it, so that's for that guy. Then we're gonna do the hangout. Bow. Make source visible. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then we are going to find the Google Hangouts. All right. Look at that. Is that it? Oh, nope. That is not it. We got to find the other one. That says Hangouts video call. Bam. That's it right there. Oh, yeah. Yup. You touching me. Oh, wait. That is not sizing up right. Touching you. Sweet Caroline. Ba, ba, ba. I was watching Ted, so that's been quite funny to me. All right. Will that stay that way? I wonder. I wonder. I wonder. Show window shadow. And then show windows with empty names. Nah, I think that's it. And all right. So, is that Google Hangouts working? Phone lines? Let me check the phone lines, good sir. Let's see. Where is the switchboard? Phone lines are up, good sir. Yes, sir. You can dial that phone line, call on in, or you can hit the Google Hangout. That link should work for you, brothers. Do you see that link? Gotcha. Alrighty. You are the only one here. That's what it says. Invite people. Copy the link. Maybe that's the wrong link there. Uh-oh. No, I see some action. There we go. Kapow. All right, can you guys hear? Yeah, I can. Can you hear me, brother? Hello? Hello? Oh, wait, my mic is muted. There we go. Can you hear me? Good. I had my mic muted. My bad. All right. What's going on, man? How you doing? Good, good, good. Hey, can you guys hear him? Somebody, anybody, everybody, scream. What's your name, man? Akeem. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I remember you from you was on the hangout with DJ, right? Yeah, okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Jason, can y'all hear him? Can you hear me on the hangout in the broadcast on YouTube? Okay, cool. Actually, I want to check this out for myself. Eric says he can't hear me on the stream. Okay. So, let's see here. If that's something I need to change right now. right now. Okay. And oh wow, that's fun. Yeah. He says I can hear you, but no one else. No one else. What about now? Can you hear him now? Uh, yes, yeah, I can hear y'all good. I'm checking the stream though. Let's see. Eric says he can't hear nothing, so let's check here and see. All right, what could that be? What could that be? All right, so enable preview. Yep, that's good. That's good. Properties, show video. Yep, that's good. And can you hear him now? Say something now. Can you guys hear the Hangout call now? Oh wait, hang on. I think that this is the problem. Yep, I believe so. It's either gonna be that one or this one, I bet. All right, can you guys hear them now? Sherry says no, she can't hear. Eric, you can't hear either, correct, sir? All right. So let me try this output here. That's the microphone and the speakers. What if they are in built-in output? Can you guys hear now? Still can't hear them. Nope, I still can't hear them. What about now? Let's turn that up. I'm gonna turn that up. And you can't. All right, so let's see. So I can hear you guys, and nobody can hear them. I go to this, and that's good, and that's good. So it's gotta be the Hangout output. If it's the microphone that's there, built in. What about? Yeah, well that's because I got this. Yep, I'm sorry. That's why I got this thing open. Turn that off. Turn that off. Today, please. There we go. All right. All right. Still can't hear. Are they doing mic checks? Yeah. All right, guys. Give me a mic check now. Let me see if that works. Yeah, I can hear them loud and clear, but you guys can't hear. Let me see if I do that. Nope, that's the phone. They should be able to hear over that internet. And I don't see why they wouldn't, because I can hear them. Oh wait, I do have one other thing I can check. Microphone, that's good. It's got to be the speakers. I thought that would do it. It would be either one of these three. So if I can hear, and then if they can hear, they should be able to catch it, man. And this guy, there's Echo, Rehab. Okay, Echo is gone now. Cool. Huh. Yeah. Shit, beats me, man. I don't know what else it could be. The video, there's the microphone. They can hear me back and forth, so what I'm saying to them should be getting broadcasted to the peoples. Yeah, because that would send it through the mics through there. Oh wait, unless I think I need to add another audio channel. Did I figure this out? I think I may have. All right, add audio channel, create new, make source visible. Yep. And then I should be able to. Oh shit, that's not doing it. Well, let's see. Let's see if that does it. Okay. So now say something, guys. Mic check for me. Anything good people? Okay. And then if I go here, then I should be to VTS plugin, open interface or add. Nope, I don't need to do any of that. Still nothing. He said call Geek Squad. Boy, I tell you, just like a nigga. Ain't no better time to kick you down and down on the ground. Boy, I tell you. Thanks for being consistent, Eric. I appreciate that, man. All right, so no, that's not working because that's the other channel. So let me mute that. Yep. Okay, yeah, I don't know, man. Shit. Yeah, we might have to stick to them phones, man. Let me see if I got any phone. Oh, I got a phone call. Okay, somebody's on hold. Let me take you off of mute. All right. 469-888. You on the air.
Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Who's this?
Oh, this is Shelly. I discovered you through Tommy Sotomayor's channel.
Okay. That's what's up. Hold on, let me make sure everybody can hear you. Can you guys hear him? Can you guys hear the caller? Cool.
Yeah, right. What's wrong with the Google? What's wrong with the Hangout? What's wrong with the mics?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out because I can hear everything from the Hangout just fine, but it's not coming through on the broadcast. So I'm trying to figure out what it is that I'm missing on
Okay, how's the phone lines? Can they hear me?
Yeah, everybody can hear you you good to go on the phones, man. Yeah, they can hear you just fine.
Okay, so so you have to forgive me. I'm pretty young, so I haven't experienced the thing you and time experience. So I'm 19. You know, I graduated high school, so I'm just now experiencing this thing called life.
Okay.
And the stuff that you were talking in this live stream, it helped me out because I don't know much about the law. I know the basic stuff, but how should I say?
Well, first of all, let me ask you this. Are you a criminal, or do you hang around felonious individuals?
Do I hang around who?
Felonious individuals. Do you hang around cats that break the law, or cats that are?
No.
Okay.
No,
all right. So we can.
I don't associate myself with those people.
Very good. So we can give you the benefit of the doubt and say that you're a pretty clean cut guy. That's good.
What would you think?
The felonious means somebody who's committed felonies, somebody who commits felonies. So people that have been in and out of jail, people that commit crimes, steal, rob, and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I meant by that word.
Okay.
So with you being a young guy, are you African American or black? I should assume.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Where are you from?
I'm from the east side of Texas.
East side of Texas. Okay. All right. Cool. So with you being in that type of environment, you talking old school South, and those people down there, you can run into what we would call that asshole cop, or that police officer that's gonna give you a hard time, that's gonna think that you are a bad guy just because of the color of your skin, and can want to give you a hard time. So it's like, with that being said,
I've seen it.
Okay, so you've experienced that. So like, give me an example. Like, what
Yeah, like
happened?
my mom. Okay, so me and my mom would be on like vacation or whatever,
Okay.
and like, and we got pulled over one time by a cop, and it's me and my brother. We in the back seat,
Mm-hmm.
and they get pulled over, and my mom, she, man, how should I say, like, you got one side that thinks, man, well, why they pulling us over? I didn't do nothing, and my
Okay.
dad's like, hey, calm down before this thing goes completely left.
Yep.
And eventually, and nothing went wrong. Nobody got hurt or anything like that. I think it was like a routine traffic stop or something like
Okay.
that. I wasn't sure because I was young back then. I wasn't paying attention to that stuff. I was trying to get some goals. You know what
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
saying? Yeah, I was trying to get these goals. I wasn't paying attention no law.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just see stuff like that. My mom would say, "Hey, you know what's going on in the news?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So, like when you see cops, when you cops approach you, just stay calm. Don't get mad. If a cop approach you, first of all, call me. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
let me know.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you this one story. I don't know if you got time, but one time I made this stupid joke. I was trying to be funny. I was trying to be Chris Watt. I don't know what the heck I was talking about, but I was sitting next to these girls, and I said, hey, I got this gun, blah blah blah, blah, and yeah,
Wow.
and one of them told the principals, and it wasn't like that, like, but of course they would take it like that because stuff like that do happen,
Yeah.
and the policeman pat me down. He took me to the principal's office. He looked in my backpack,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, hey, don't do this again. We're gonna send you home. And I'm like, what? Can't you scare me? I didn't say it, but I thought it. That's the thing with me in school. I learned to. I mean, you gotta learn to. You can't say it. You can't say what you want to say. You
Right.
know, you gotta have to keep it all inside. I learned how to do that at a very early age because you say the wrong thing, and the small things that you say can make you end up in a horrible place. So but yeah, I love what you're doing, man. You and Tommy like put some education into my brain. Every
Okay.
day I watch those scopes. Y'all educate me on some things, and yeah, I just want to say, man, keep up and bust up, man.
All right. Well, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you sharing that experience, man, and giving us a call, and definitely for tuning in and supporting the channel, man, and what we're trying to do. I would definitely say, man, that just being a young guy, man, I really feel for a lot of you young guys. Because, well, actually, for you, you're quite fortunate because you do have your father in your life, and you do have your father around to be able to tell you, hey, give you guidance in a lot of
Yeah, yeah,
certain
I think my
areas.
dad often.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great thing, and that's huge, man. When it comes to just those type of life experiences that you have, and knowing that hey, you got somebody that actually gives a shit, and that's gonna be there for you if something does go wrong, and is there to help you keep you out of trouble. I think a lot of times that we wind up getting in trouble because we say the wrong things, like you said, how you admitted, you was running off at the mouth and playing around a little bit and didn't know the real severity of the
Right.
situation. You know what I'm saying? So it's like keeping that in mind. And I mean, at the end of the day, man, we are, it's a lot of you young people are gonna make mistakes. You are gonna have situations and instances where you may do something stupid or do the wrong thing. It's just that keeping in mind to say, well, hey, it's not always about fun and games. It's not always about being a smart ass or being the asshole of the, and giving shit to the adults. Sometimes you have to be able to say, you know what, let me be smart and let me just do one simple thing for myself and shut my fucking mouth. You know what I'm saying? And that's good that when
Exactly.
when you can do that and you can be able to say, you know what, let me shut up, let me, go ahead and submit and be like, yes sir, no sir. That will get you out of a lot of stuff. And as opposed to you always trying to be right, you can actually be safe and you can make it home, because that at the end of the day is what you are looking at. And some people say, oh man, I ain't gonna be no punk, man, I ain't gonna be no cow trying to just think about I want to go home. That's scared, man. you
Right. That's
you
how I
being a
was.
pussy. You know what I'm saying? You don't know, you being smart, because at the end of the day there's a difference between being smart and being a punk or being an asshole and then saying, hey, let me just go ahead and just let this person have this win. You know what I'm saying? Pick your battles, know when and when not to fight, and that will take you a long way. You will live to tell a lot of stupid people's stories because you were that guy that listened and said, you know what, let me just stay in my lane real quick and let this thing just die down. So I'm glad you. Congrats to you, man, and my hats off to you for being smart enough to be able to do that, man. That's good stuff.
Yeah, man, and you got to think about it like this. If I hadn't have done that, like I don't look as bad. I thank God that I had bad experiences because if you hadn't had it, it's good to have them when you're like 15, 16. But when you 19, 20, there ain't no excuses for that. You get like slaps on the wrist and stuff. So it's better to make mistakes like 15, 16, because you learn not to do it because you're not gonna. And don't get me wrong, I may make some mistakes when
Yeah.
I'm in my 20s and stuff, but like everybody, everybody ain't perfect. But yeah, man, just keep doing what you're doing, and bye. I'll catch you later, man.
All right, bro. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for the phone call, man.
All right, man.
Good deal. That was a good phone call, man. That's what I'm talking about. All right, let's try this hangout thing again. I did some changes. Can you guys mic check for me? And let me know if you guys can hear him on the broadcast. Oh, you don't want to look, God, dog. All right, I'm gonna listen and then call in. Okay, cool. All right, well, yeah, I guess I'll have to fool around with this thing, man. Oh, wait a minute. I wonder if I could do that and then pipe that in. Oh no, I can't because then I would take off the phone. Yep, dang blasted. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure that out, man, and learn how to do that hangout thing, man, a different way, because the way that I had it, I think it was connected to this, and then that was before I did the phone thing. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure that out, man, and do it a different way I came. But I would say, yeah, if you want to just call in, man, we know that's working, and we can do it that way. Boy, this is a crazy number right here. I know this got to be my brother though. Let me go ahead and take this call. All right, man. Thanks, dude. I appreciate it, man. All right. Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Uh, 111 You are on the air. Hello, caller. Oh, is it this caller has dropped? All right. Yes, indeed. He said, "Don't go back to Hangout because I couldn't unless y'all could hear. I'm going to listen online and I can call in. Hangout mic is checking. You're right. Didn't nobody say anything can hear anything. That was a good phone call. Yeah, it was, Sherry. It was good to hear a young dude like that who could call in and actually give his point of view and give us a shout out. It's like it's good to hear that kind of stuff. Mm. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Hey, Jason or Eric, yeah, if you guys want to call in, man, you guys can go right on ahead and hit me up. He said going back, yeah, because I don't know what the deal is with that hangout, man. Oh, why that hangout is doing that. I wonder if I should be able to test that. Now that I think about it, because if I go here, I should be able to. Would I be able to hear myself that? Oh, wait, I'll be able to hear myself this way, though. If it actually does start working. Yeah. Sweet Caroline. Dot, dot, dot. And then if I take this mic and turn that down. Nope, that won't work that way. I'm gonna have to test that a different way. Because I'm gonna have to test that a whole different way. Yep. Because I can't listen and at the same time and hear myself. So yeah, getting back to the there we go. Alright, let's go back to I guess I'm gonna try this 111 1-1, or is that? Oh, there we go, Jason. Okay, I got you, brother. Here we go. 240-4444. Got that Jay-Z going. You are on the air.
What's up, Brian?
What's up, my brother? How we doing, man?
Man, I can't call it. I'm up at work, man. Just to throw out, man, you hit that home run, bro. Everything that you said was just right on point.
Man, thank you.
I've been a police officer since before 1991, and I've been a federal officer over 25 years.
Wow.
And you said the exact same thing that I tell some people that I talk to. You talked everything. I mean, you just don't understand, Brian. You got this thing down to, like, perfection.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you,
Gotta
man.
say that thing.
I tell you, man, I appreciate it, man. And it's like it has been on me so long, man, to just do this kind of show that because I had other ideas and stuff that I wanted to do and other topics, but this has just been something that's been eating at me for such a long time, man. And it was like, I just felt with the experience I've had and just being on both sides of the game, man, it was like, I need to go ahead and just do this and just put out here what I know and what has worked for me and just tell my experience, because I've had bad experiences with police officers, and I've had some really good ones too. And it's like I've worked with some really good officers. I mean, the guys out in my the county where I worked out at Allegan County, man. And I must admit, with the multitude of law enforcement officers I've been around, those guys out there, man, and we're talking about a rural farmland type of environment. I mean, and those guys out there, man, they are class acts. I mean, the majority of them, they know their job. They're smart. They are tactical. They don't want to, cause problems. They want to solve problems, and they basically want to help their community. A lot of those guys, they do live in that community, so they have more of a passion for where they live. But I mean, just guys that are just truly and naturally good police. It's refreshing to be around something like that. You know what I'm saying? And I've been in other areas where there have been a lot of just bad police, police that have just not been well trained. And because of that, you have the results that you have, where you have a community where a lot of people hate the police. You know what I'm saying? So it was just something in me, man. But I'm glad that, especially for somebody with your type of experience, for you to say that means a lot, man. And I really appreciate the fact that that you said that, and that I'm actually hitting some good points. Was there anything that you wanted to add?
Brian, to be honest with you, Brian, you really, I mean, dude, you hit the ball out the park. I just want to say, like earlier, me and Eric, we got this discussion going on. Eric, trust me, I understand exactly what you're saying. But what I'd like to say, and Eric, if he wants to type in the chat room, I can read it and respond to him. But I understand what Eric says when he goes to look at the stats and this and that. And if some of the people were reading about me and Eric going back and forth, and I'm not disputing what Eric is saying, but when you went over level of force.
Hold on one second. Is Eric still in the chat? Tell his ass to call in.
Can he call in with me on the line?
Let's try it. Shit, I don't see why not.
What?
And if
hold on, I type it in. It in.
Tell him to call in, and if cause it looks like I could just like click on his phone line, and that should work. And if
I just sent them a message on.
Yeah.
I just sent them a message. So, but yeah, we were talking because Eric. Yeah, because Eric is military, and I wish I can tell Eric what my ex-wife used to do, but I tell him on a private call.
Yeah.
Then he'll know it. Dude, believe me, a lot of people in the military know my ex-wife.
Yeah,
but
okay.
I'm not gonna. I can't put her out there like that.
Right.
But because I don't want to be like Tommy. Because see, I'll go find them. You ain't gotta come find me. I'm gonna come find you. But anyway, because she taking care of my daughter. But what he was saying in reference to the information and statistics he got, when he was doing his research, and what I was trying to explain to him, all police officers are trained in the same fashion. Yep. I don't care where they go, what they do, where they come from. Basically, we all are trained in the same fashion. We all have the same training modules as every police officer actually almost around the world, with the exception of a few police departments, which are really not police departments, but they're actually the military acting as police officers.
Yeah.
And that's different.
Yep.
That is different. And people have to understand that, I tell people, Eric, call in. Eric, call in. Yeah. Yeah, he just left me. But people need to understand, like what you were saying. I did this call with Tommy, I think a couple of weeks back. Mm-hmm. And I'm passionate about my job, and I like people.
Right.
I'm not trying to hurt nobody. When I come to work, my main mission is to help people.
Yep.
That's what I want to do. I want to help you. If somebody is hurting you, or you need help with daggone directions, or if I can park here, or whatever, I want to help you as much as I can. 95% of the officers want to help.
Yes.
They are not there to hurt you. I want to go home. Even though right now I ain't got nobody to go home because I'm celibate right now, I'm on the celibate week.
Yeah. Oh, we know.
Even though I have no one to go home to, I still want to go home in the morning.
Right.
And every officer comes to work, and we want to go home in the morning. I'm sorry. Yeah, there's a few bad apples out there. And it may seem like a lot, but there are a few bad apples.
Hold on, wait.
I'm not going to quarterback you, Brian.
Hold on one second. Eric, can you hear me? I think I got Eric in. Eric, can you hear me?
Yeah, you got me?
Can you hear him?
Yeah, I can hear him too.
Oh, hell yeah. We on
yes, I
the
can.
three-way then. There it is. Yeah, it worked.
Yeah,
okay,
I can hear Eric. Excellent. Eric is perfect. But what I was saying is, only thing that I wanted to quarterback you on is I believe that the training for a new officer, a brand new officer, like a college fresh officer, or if that place doesn't need the college or whatever to hire you as an officer, it should be a year, a minimum of a year.
Yeah, I would not disagree with that.
Mm-hmm. I understand what you said, and I understand what you said, 8 months to a year. I still actually agree with that, too. Yeah. I really do agree with that, but it should be longer.
Yep.
I mean, I can give you an example of my department in the federal government, the FTO program. If you're going from federal agency to another federal agency, it's 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because you're already a police officer.
Right.
If you're just getting as a police officer, you had to go through FLETC, go qualify, and then you come here to the department. I believe it's almost like a month or two.
Okay.
It's not long enough.
Yeah.
But in the federal government, a lot of agencies don't go outside their building. They don't have a concurrent jurisdiction with the metro. In D.C., you have over 26 law enforcement agencies that actually do patrol on the street in D.C.
Okay. And see, like, if I'm not mistaken, I know that, and then I'll let Eric take the floor, but if I'm not mistaken,
Absolutely,
I know D.C., because it's not like a regular state, and you got that whole District of Columbia, like I don't know, I forget what they call it, but I know that you guys have like
Yes,
some
the District
weird,
of Columbia.
yeah, you guys got like some weird laws when it comes to what your jurisdictions and stuff are. So with you being a federal officer, do you have like jurisdiction? Like you could just like being like if you at work and you on your way home, could you like make a stop if you like in a federal vehicle, like a regular traffic stop? Do y'all have those type of powers there or what?
Okay, now I'm going to try to be real simple with this.
Yeah.
We share a concurrent jurisdiction in the District of Columbia.
Okay.
Because the MPD, Washington District Police Department, is kind of a federal agency.
Ah, okay, got you.
But they're not. But they work under a city type law enforcement.
Okay.
But they have to do city and federal. Now, when it comes to that, now we're talking about concurrent jurisdiction. That means that you're sharing the jurisdiction in which you're in. You're sharing with other agencies.
Yeah.
Now, the park agency. Now, if I'm sitting on the street and there's something going on over in one of those little grassy areas in D.C.,
mm-hmm.
Well, that's a park. That's actually a park.
Yeah.
So the park police are in charge of that.
Okay.
However, if you are beating Eric to death, I can go over there and stop it.
Which I hope doesn't happen.
Oh, no, it's going to happen.
Yeah,
oh,
I can go stop
I'm
it.
going to get my Negan on, boy.
But it's weird because we have actually borders. For my department, we have borders.
Okay.
We go from this street to this street, from this street to this street. However, you got to remember, I'm a federal police officer in the United States. My jurisdiction is in your bathroom.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And I don't care where you are in the United States.
But I know like I have a little bit of an understanding of like federal jurisdiction, but
right.
I didn't know if like because of the DC thing, because a lot of people don't realize that it's a lot of shit that goes on in DC, and they can do a lot of different shit just because they are not like a state, and a lot of people don't know that and don't realize that, but. Yeah, that's like one of those weird things. So I just didn't know how that like works. But one last thing too that
it's a little bit more in depth, but I'm just trying to give you the surface.
Yeah. One last
like you seen the movie 1600 Street? You seen the movie?
Yeah,
1600
Bruce Willis
Street?
and Bruce Willis and Mos Def. Is that? Oh no.
No.
1600. That's Wesley Snipes and Wesley Snipes
with Wesley Snipes.
What's my other man?
I don't know.
Sean Connery.
That movie.
Yeah.
That movie. If you look at that movie, that gives you a very good idea how DC is ran.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen that in years. Maybe I'll take another look at that and see what's going on with that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
well, go ahead.
Real quick, Eric, before I let you take the floor, one other thing that I would recommend about the police is that whole college thing, I think, is a problem when you're talking about police officers, because somebody who is fresh out of college that didn't grow up in the neighborhood that they grew up in, that they're policing in, can put them at a disadvantage. Whereas somebody who grew up in the same area and may not have the college but have the life experience, and they know people in that neighborhood because they will probably have better people skills and better relationship building skills in that community, they could very well turn out to be a much better police officer or a much better candidate as a police officer than somebody who has their 4-year degree in law enforcement, and they're going to be out on the everyday beat as a cop working nights in your local ghetto or whatever the case may be. So that was just my other thing that I wanted to throw out there too, because back in the day it used to be where if you had a high school diploma, you can go be the police. As long as you can pass the physical and the crazy test and the written test, you was good. But it's like now when in Chicago, they actually just pulled that law back because for so many years it was ruling out so many candidates and a lot of candidates of color for that matter, because of that rule. And it was like you had to have like a minimum of 60 hours of college, and they have so few candidates now with so many police officers retiring in that city that they're at a big time shortage. So they actually rolled that law back and they discarded that. And now you can have your 4-year high school degree and go ahead and get on the force if you can pass the other 3 tests. So, but go ahead, Eric James.
Well, see,
Take it away, my brother.
Yeah.
Hey, brothers. First of all, good morning.
Right.
Jason, I'm so glad that you gave me your perspective, being a first-person perspective on.
Oh, absolutely. Hello?
Yeah, hello. Yeah, I'm here. Oh, it looks like he.
Yeah, I think it's.
Oh, his phone might have.
Yeah,
dropped.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
No, it looks like Eric got
Eric.
It says he dropped off. Let me see if I can.
He said he's having a big storm too.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, he said
he
he's
did
having a
say
big
that
storm
when it
tonight
first,
earlier.
Yep, when it first came up, he did say that. All right, hold on. Wait, this might be
Yeah.
him calling back. Let's
But-
see here. Let's see if I get him.
I wanted to touch
Yeah,
on
is
what
that
you
you,
said
Eric?
then about the college thing.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm
Oh,
back.
okay.
Oh, go ahead, Eric. You got the floor, bro.
Okay, very quickly. Again, Jason, thanks for giving me your perspective from a first-person perspective with respect to my understanding of the use of force continuum. But I still think that when it comes to police brutality and people's reality and the truth in between, that it would behoove citizenry to know, first of all, what the use of force continuum is. Brian, I'm so glad you brought that up, man, because a lot of people don't know that. They want to talk about the Fourth Amendment rights and other rights, but they don't understand. And I'm glad you brought up Terry versus Ohio, which is very important too.
Big case.
Very big case, man. I think it was in the 60s or something like that.
Yeah.
But I guess my question is, or maybe just my where I'm at a bit of a quandary is when it comes to the use of force continuum, and of course most law enforcement agencies have policies that guide the use of force, and these policies describe, an escalating series of actions an officer can take to resolve a situation. Jason, you could talk on this. It seems like it is so seamless and it can move so quickly because you have, of course, officer presence when no force is used, and just the fact that the cops are there to calm you down. And then they go, if that doesn't work, then it's verbalization where it's not physical, but then that verbalization is where sometimes it's lost in translation because it doesn't tell you exactly. Well, I haven't found where there's a standard as far as what a cop can verbalize, and that's when I worked at the Fort Hood Resiliency Campus, and we're working with our local police department about assertive communication. How do you move from the wrong fight to the right conversation? But there's really no standard. Verbalization can be something as simple as, now please see your identification and registration to don't move. And some citizens may take don't move as being adversarial. And the interesting thing that I found about the use of force continuum, and Jason, please talk on this, is that the ones I saw, like when a citizen has an action, the opposite reaction that a police officer has seems like it's escalating the situation. You know what I'm saying? It's not like really de-escalating.
I agree with you. I agree.
And that's really
Brian actually touched on that because as a police officer, we are trained to stay above what your level is.
Right.
Right.
Like you said, if I'm sitting there talking to you, Eric, and you just stop talking to me, I know, and I have a feeling from my instincts, Eric is now very upset. So I'm going to try to get you talking again by asking you, well, hey, what do you like to do? Or what is your hobby? Just to try to get back down, I have to de-escalate myself. And that's the key. The problem is officers are not de-escalating themselves with the person that they're dealing with.
Yes. Yep.
Well,
They're
let me
not
ask you
doing
this,
it.
Jason. Let me ask you this, because here in our city, they have a 7-step narrative. And what one of the police officers I talked to, who's seasoned like you, he said part of the problem is unseasoned officers don't know what to do once they're taken out of that narrative. It seems like you already, I don't know if your history has been that they gave you a narrative like these are the 7 things, or these are the 5 things, or these are the steps or not. But I know here
it's working outside of the box.
Right. It sounds like that's what you do. Here, one of the officers admitted, he said, man, if you take some cops out of this narrative, they're lost.
Yep.
They don't know what to do next.
So
and then it goes from verbal to empty hand control to a non-lethal method. Then it slides down the freaking slope, man.
So one of the things,
you're absolutely right.
One of the things that I was trained on doing when we were talking about, because we went over like just contacting and how to contact people, period, is what we were taught to always ask open-ended questions, and to make sure that you stay engaged with that person that you're talking with, and and this is when you have the advantage of having a partner. Then you and your partner can really help to de-escalate. But you have to put yourself in the mindset first of saying, I don't want to go to level 10, if you will. I don't want to go on 10. When you're thinking that way, then you put yourself in a frame of mind to where unless it's already at level 9, then you're at 10. So it's like you have to try to assess and calm down the situation. So if you don't have any weapons in play, if you don't have anybody threatening another person's life or something like that, if you don't have those certain characteristics already happening, then that ain't where you trying to go. You know what I'm saying? So it's like now you're in a situation to where you're saying, okay, I'm coming into a situation and I got 2 people arguing. First thing I want to do is get those 2 people's attention on me. So that's a, hey, how's it going? Stop. Look at me. What's your name? You know what I'm saying? It's like you're going to do certain things to keep those 2 from going at each other first. So you want to stop that. So that's the mindset you're walking into. Now, I could take that to a whole nother level, and I can walk up and pull my gun out and say, put your hands up, both of you. Get your asses on the ground. Now, I'm at a level 8 already because I got my weapon drawn, and I'm giving these people directions already, and I don't even know what's going on. I'm giving them instructions, and there are no weapons in play. All I hear is a bunch of bickering, and I want to quiet.
Let me ask you both this. I'm gonna tell you what my experience is, and then what you think other people should do. One of the things that I do as a citizen, which is unfair, but I have that advantage, is that when I'm pulled over, the first thing I do, Jason, I took a page out of your book. I've done it before, but I believe you said that you told your daughter to put everything on the dash, right? I think that's what you said.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Okay,
sir.
That's what I do. But I also put my military ID on the dash.
Absolutely.
And depending on where I'm traveling, and depending on where I'm traveling, I have a uniform hanging in the back, or I have like one of my OCP bags or something like that. And I have stressed the truth because I've been speeding, and they say, I give my ID, and the first thing that I call is get out of jail free card, or my freedom papers, because for some reason police think that ID card is synonymous with someone who is law abiding, and I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but a lot of us are not law abiding. But they'll say, the first thing they say, do you know why I stopped you? And I don't answer the question. I say, well, not really, officer. They say you were speeding. And I say, well, I'm trying to get home to my mom. I was deployed, and I was several years ago, but I say I was deployed, and I have never gotten a ticket. But see, that's something I'm afforded. So I'm saying I don't have to say this. What do either one of you or both of you suggest that a citizen does to kind of frame it before it happens? See, I framed it before it happened.
Right.
But I'm getting ready to retire in November. I won't have that active duty ID card. I have a retiree card. They don't give a shit about
That'll be good. That'll be just as good for you.
Yeah.
That'll work.
But what about the regular guy? What about the kid? What do they do?
And I said this before, and I'm telling you, I can fly a plane with a banner. It's all about attitude.
Right.
It's your attitude that's going to determine what happens to the rest of your life after that officer makes contact with you. If you have a pleasant attitude, you will be fine.
But Jason,
you can get upset. You can get upset a little bit, but don't have that attitude.
But Jason,
Why you
I
pull
still
me
believe
over? I can drive
I
on
still
this
believe
road.
there's profiling. I still believe there's profiling because I get profiled
There's
based
always
on my
been
military
profiling.
ID. Based on my
There's
military
always
ID, I am
Look.
profiled as someone who is law-abiding.
We are trained to profile people. That's why they have profilers in the FBI. I don't know why the news gets on TV and they always say, and some police departments say, "Oh, we don't profile people." So why do they have profilers in the FBI and all the other investigative agencies? Why?
That is exactly what you do. You are consistently profiling, and at the end of the day, anybody that
You
tells
have
you
to be
you
profiled.
not, they lying. Bottom line, there is no way in the
You have
world
to be
that
profiled.
you cannot be profiling at somebody in this job and what they're doing, because all you're doing is you're taking visual, the things that you see visually and the information that you are able to gather verbally, and you are taking that and you are compiling that as to determine what this person's intentions or motives are, or what this person is doing or has done. That is profiling. And if I,
you know what?
Based on your profile, I'm going to see, like, I'm looking at Brian right now. I pulled Brian over, and he's sitting in the car. He has a nice white shirt on.
Yeah, but that shirt look like one of those CDC shirts, and you know that. That look like one of the Texas Department of Correction shirts, Jason. You know it. With the damn blue collar. That look like he on the chain gang.
yes sir, boss.
Well, what I'm saying,
boss.
thank you, Eric. But what I'm saying, he has a nice white, clean T-shirt on. So
Right.
that's giving me a vision in my mind that this guy might be a professional of some type. That's how I do it. He might be a professional of some type. His shirt is ironed. He takes care in how he looks. He is well groomed. He has a nice haircut. So I'm going to assume that this guy is an okay guy as far as his level of intelligence is concerned. That's how
But
I'm
you know,
looking
that
at
seems
it.
so subjective,
Now,
and I don't mean it.
But hold on a second.
Okay.
But when he opens his mouth, that's when the adding and subtracting comes up.
Yep.
I don't care about what your car looks like. I want to see you. You present yourself as a well-looking, dressed, groomed person. I'm going to assume when you speak, you're going to be okay. You're going to have a decent attitude, and you're going to be fine. Now, I pull over the thug with the damn hoodie on, and he bumping his music when I'm walking up to the car. He got a cigarette hanging out the window. What do you think I'm going to think?
Yep. And on that same
Right off the
token,
bat.
the way that he just profiled me, I can fuck all that up by saying, "Man, what the
Yes,
fuck you
you can.
pulled me over for, man? Man, Joe, I wasn't even doing shit." Now he gonna be like, "Oh, okay, so this guy thought that was gonna be cool. Now he's an asshole. So now let me fuck with him and let me turn up." That's exactly what he gonna think. If he feels like it. Now he could be tired and he could be like, "Shit, I'm about to get off in 30 minutes. I'm not about to deal with this." Like, "Look, sir, I pulled you over because of this. I'm gonna write you a ticket. Sit your ass here and I'll be right back." He could do that.
I could be right next to you. You could be wearing a hoodie. You have the loud music on. You're smoking a cigarette. I fall behind you because you're not paying attention to me or you didn't see me. When my lights come on, because let's say your tag is expired. Now, I remember seeing you with this hoodie on, smoking a cigarette, blasting your music. And I turn my lights on you. I get behind you. All of a sudden, the music goes out. You take your hoodie down, and you can throw the cigarette out the window or put it out, and you sit up in your seat. Then we might have a good conversation.
Yep.
Yeah, but with all due respect,
you might have just been in yourself right now. But it's all at the end of the day, it's all about attitude.
What
you know, with all due respect, though, with all due respect, Jason, I would say that your position is kind of like the seasoned football professional who knows how to navigate the field versus a rookie or somebody.
Appreciate that.
Yep.
Yeah, and so you are making some decisions that I don't think the average police officer is making, and that's the problem. Just like we know that the average football player lasts 2 to 3 years on the football field. I don't know what what the career expectancy of a police officer is. I don't know if there is a disproportionately large amount of people with your history. You have a very unique history. Several years in the military as a police officer. Several years on the municipal and federal level.
Let me stop you just right quick. But see, the problem is like what Brian said earlier. It's all about training the rookies when they come in. And when you train the rookies when you come in, this is the thought process you have to give them. A lot of police departments, anytime when you see a year of 0 or 5, that next year, which is a 6 or 1, you're going to have an almost totally new police department. They're all going to be pretty much new. And you're going to have the old heads, they're still going to be there, but you're going to have a lot of rookies out there. Like Brian said, the departments fail to continue to train these new officers in this professional job.
Yep.
That's what happens. I understand exactly what you're saying, Eric. I'm not even going to fight you about it. It's not even a fight. I can't even say, no, Eric, you're wrong. I totally agree with you. But it's all about the police department. And how does the police department get these new officers to act and be a part of the community? Well, let's open up another door. It all has to come, some of it has to come from the community. Go to your local law enforcement department. Say, hey, can we have a town meeting? Can we discuss some things? See, the people have to be involved because people are police too.
Yep.
The only difference between a human and the police officers is the police officers have guns that they can actually use. People have guns too, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. But people can police themselves as well as the police officers can. And people do not do that today in a lot of neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Like we keep saying over and over again, we know all the drug dealers in the neighborhood.
Yep.
We know people that kill people in the neighborhood, but we ain't turning them in because snitches get stitches.
And one of the things too, to your point,
But I agree with you, Eric. I agree.
When you say that too, as far as us being police officers as civilians and being able to go to your local law enforcement, you can't control what your local police captain, police chief, superintendent, whatever you want to call it. You can't control those until you control your politicians, because your politicians are the ones that ultimately have that power over them. Your politicians and your mayors, they are the ones that control the law enforcement department. So it's like you have to have your local politicians, you have to have them in a position to where you are the ones that put them in place and they are doing what it is that you want them to do, because they are the ones that have access to allocating resources, whether it's having more police officers, whether it's having a specific tactical unit in your own community. They are the ones who are ultimately responsible for allocating those type of resources. So if you don't have a foothold on that, and you don't have your as a community, and you don't have the people in your neighborhood that live on your block, if you all can't hold your local politician accountable, whether it's, I don't know if they call them aldermen where you at, or precinct captains, whatever it is you want to call it, the people that control your immediate local government where you live in your community, if you don't have any control over that, then you aren't going to be able to say, well, we want the police to do this, because they're going to give you some bullshit and say, well, we can't afford it, or we don't have the resources, or they'll just totally ignore you and put you off and say, yeah, we'll take care of it when we can. The police is doing more important stuff. That's what they're going to tell you. So until you have it to where you can
And-
say, look, we voted your ass in office, and we'll vote your ass out, then they gonna have some people that's gonna move and shake and pop lock to get shit done.
And like I said from the beginning of this section here, it's all about the people policing the people. You put these people in office, and you need to learn how to talk to them and make sure that we're all on the same sheet of music. This is what we want our department to do. Can you do it? Nothing's impossible.
Let me ask
What
you
we
this,
need
Jason.
in our go ahead.
No, please finish your thought.
Oh, but what we need in a lot of communities is we need to go back to the old community policing. We need to go back to the old footbeat. That's my thing.
Yep.
Well, let me ask you.
Yeah. Go ahead, Eric.
Let me ask you this, both of you this. Are police officers given a personality test with respect to how they would fit in the department? Not whether or not they can get in the department, but how they would fit.
No. Only federal
They're
agents.
giving a crazy test. They give you a crazy test. Make sure you ain't crazy.
You get a mental test, but
but you don't get like a
you don't
personality
get.
test.
You don't. Yeah, no.
Nope. They and at
and
the end of the
we
day,
don't.
they should. They really should.
Yeah, we don't do that in the military too.
Yeah.
Now
What
Israeli,
they do, Eric, they don't give you a test, but they place you through classes to try to curb your personality to a certain way.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, there's
You have to
certain
go through
character
class.
strengths. There are certain character strengths that are more complementary to certain jobs. I think that's just basic psychology. You know, whether or not you go from something called the values in action that we use from the University of Pennsylvania, or you do Myers-Briggs, Briggs-Myers, or something like that. And the Israeli Defense Force uses a personality test. I think they're revamping it, but they don't.
But wait a minute. The Israeli Defense Force is more militarized than like a local city police department.
Right.
They're actually the military.
Right, but I still think that there's something to be said about a test that helps a hiring body determine whether or not an individual has the personality to perform a specific job, not get in the job, but perform a specific job. Case in point, like when you join the IDF, you don't, like, you were in the military. You know how we take the ASVAB and they go on you and they say, okay.
Tests,
right, and they look to see what jobs are available, and they put you in that job, right?
Right.
The IDF doesn't do that. What the IDF does is that they look at your personality, and you may want to be a tanker, but they say no. Your personality is better fit for infantry, or your personality is better fit for admin. And I don't know whether that may be an interesting metric for the police to use, because I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jason, but it's like police officers are almost like the Marines in this respect. Everybody's an infantryman. Everybody is, but some police officers may not be suited for the street. Some of them may need to be pushing paper. Some of them may need to be taking evidence. Some of them need to be dressing up like McGruff and just going to a middle school.
The problem with that, though, Eric, is that because of the way that the police department is shaped, there's a lineage that comes along with that is passed down from father to son to from uncle to nephew. And if I'm a captain as a police in the police department, and my son is a rookie, my son is going to get preferential treatment. He's going to be placed with one of the best FTOs that I know that's going to take care of him, and then he's going to be groomed, to go wherever he wants to go. If he wants to go over to gang crimes, he's gonna get there with no problem. If he wants to go be a detective, he'll get there with no problem. If he wants to be on the narcotics team, he's gonna get there with no problem. And then when he's ready, as he gets a little older, once he's been out and been wild and doing his thing, and he's ready to settle down and make more money, he'll become a sergeant. And then once he becomes a sergeant, he'll become a lieutenant. And with me being a captain,
right,
you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna orchestrate that entire process. So by the time I retire, he'll be in line to not necessarily take my spot, but he'll already be in line and be groomed to take one of those upper echelon law enforcement spots. That's how it goes. It's just like how they do with crane operators. People don't realize this, but most crane operators are generational, passed down from my son to father, son to father, and son to father, son to father. That's just something that's a particular business that has just been owned by lineage like that over time. And that's kind of like how it is in the police department.
I totally agree with you, Eric. I totally agree with you that a personality thing should take place where people should be placed in the law enforcement department. But just like Brian just said, that family thing, that family tree, that root in that family destroys that whole thing because of the mere fact your officials, the mayor and the governor that you pick, they don't think on that level to place people where they need to go. They only place people where they need to go after somebody has done something wrong, and then they put them on desk duty.
Yep.
And so then somebody gets hurt. Somebody gets hurt doing something stupid. They can't go back to be a police officer, so now they have to do something else, but they can't be terminated either.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this.
What?
No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your thought, but
go, Eric. Go.
Along those lines, I know different peace officer organizations vary, but is it the general rule of thumb that every new police officer starts out on the beat? Is that the general rule of thumb?
Yes.
Everybody. I don't know if that's a good. I don't know if that's a good model.
Every officer is gonna start out or probably working midnights, working that night shift on the beat with your
That's
officer.
The worst night.
That's
the worst shift.
You're gonna start out in the worst shift, and in a lot of unless you know somebody, you're gonna start out on the worst shift in the worst neighborhood because everybody that's coming in is transferring out of there. So that's why you have a lot of new, fresh, buzz cut, classic white guy that just got his bachelor's from whatever local university, and now he's become a police officer because he took law enforcement, and now he's ready because he grew up in the suburbs, but now he's going to be put into the inner city ghetto, not just the inner city, but the inner city ghetto to, learn the ropes. So,
and why that happens? But why that happens is based around seniority.
Yep.
So when somebody new comes in and you're at the top of the chain for that neighborhood and you want to leave, you say, hey, I want to transfer to such and such. It would be a perfect scenario if I became a police officer in a state trooper in my state. It would be perfect. And they tell me, well, where do you want to be stationed? Well, I'm from such and such. Can I be stationed in that area? Sure, you can. Here, go right ahead and be over there.
Yeah.
That sounds like. It sounds great. It sounds like it's going to work because when you, like Brian said earlier, when you do go up to Patty and Bob's house, what the hell y'all doing?
Yep.
Y'all know I'm going to lock one of y'all up.
Yep. That
would be a great scenario. But it won't work like that because seniority takes over in a lot of departments where I don't want to be here. And the next 15 rookies come on, I'm going to get to go now to a place I want to go. And that may not necessarily be my neighborhood.
Yeah.
And that to me makes about as much sense as having a soldier go through or a recruit go through basic, go through their initial training, become an 11 Bravo, which is an infantryman, taking them to Iraq, telling them to clear a building, and the sergeant first class is sitting in an office somewhere. That doesn't make sense. There's got to be someone there with them that has some type of history, maybe not as extensive as yours, but some kind of history that can say, look, I'm going to help this person mitigate this circumstance. Not to the point where someone says, call your supervisor. Seems like it should be a supervisor out on the street somewhere.
Well, you
And maybe
do have,
I'm making
well, no,
it
you
too
do
simplistic.
have, well, no, your supervisor, you do have supervisors that are out. So your sergeants are out and about, man. Now they may be somewhere,
they're
they
riding
may
on the
be
road.
somewhere hanging out somewhere, but yeah, that's what a sergeant
Right.
does. A sergeant rides around and he waits for one of his guys to call him unless he wants to make a stop and cowboy some shit on his own. But yeah, he's out there, in the area with his guys, waiting on one of them to say, "Hey, Sarge, I need you over at such and such, such and such." And he's like, "All right, I'm en route. I'll be over there." Because I mean, if something happens where you got like a double homicide or some shit is out of your wheelhouse, you call your sergeant, and he'll come out there because he's gonna take care of his
your
guys.
lieutenant. Yeah, your lieutenant
Well,
is usually sitting back at the desk
Right.
doing all the paperwork and doing all the shift stuff.
Yeah.
And the reason why he will go out is if there was like a murder or something. But you have a sergeant out there, plus you have experienced officers there. See, a problem with a lot of the rookie officers, and I just watched this before my eyes the other day. There was an open door on this house. I called the law enforcement officers, and I called the dispatch number because they know who I am. So I said, "Hey, this front door is open. It's been opened up all night long." I noticed it at 3 a.m. So the two officer came over there. Now the first thing he did wrong was pull directly up to the house. Wrong answer. You don't pull up to the house.
Yep.
You're supposed to park a couple of houses away.
Yep.
The second thing he done wrong was he did not wait for his partner to get there before he started looking into the house.
There you go.
That guy is going to be dead in the next 5 years. I guarantee it. Not wishing nothing bad on him, but he's going to be dead in the next 5 years because he did not wait for his partner.
And that is
that
right there is classic everyday shit that happens, and it's just that you don't hear about it because it's very seldom that you hear that a police officer had the wrong protocol, or they don't want to say that the police did the wrong thing in a situation like that. But a real FTO, he would chew a guy out if he did something like that, because he's not only fucking around with his life, but he fucking around with his too. You know what I'm saying? So that's classic.
And that's where your training comes into play. That's where you don't take the rookie after he got off the FTO program and just sit him out there. Yeah, you sit him out there by himself. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, you do. But that's where the seasoned guys that are on the shift, they can't get off just yet because they can't transfer. They're supposed to look out for that officer. Everybody talks about this blue line family or blue line of whatever you want to call it. What that actually is supposed to mean is while we're at work, we're brothers. Till death do us part, we are brothers at work.
Yep.
If you do something stupid and I can correct you as your brother, I'm going to say, hey, that was wrong. You do something illegal, you kill somebody, you're on your own, buddy.
But yeah, Jason, I remember you said that before on another call.
Yep.
But with all due respect, I think that's your position.
Yeah.
That's a lot of police
officers. Go
officers.
ahead and finish your point, Eric. Go ahead and finish your point, and then I'm going to bring this other guy in real quick, and then if
I got to drop off because I got to. Well, I'm going to drop off because I got to go in and pretend I'm doing some work tomorrow. But I think, I'm getting ready to retire in November, so they're not getting a whole lot from my ass. Yeah. But, hey, I'm just telling you the truth. But I think, Jason, the last thing I want to say is I believe it is exactly what you said, and you have opened my eyes to that. I believe it starts with the training, because talking to the police chief here in this small town of 140,000 people, they tell them in the academy, the motto is arrest when you must, not when you can. And the police chief here has gone out to call, the chief has gone out to calls and help a soldier a police officer triaged the situation so that that person was not getting arrested. Because the police officer was lawful in doing something, but she said, do you really have to do that? Do you really have to do that?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's being, you say it is, and I'm going to trust you saying that there are cooler heads that prevail. But on the macro scale, we're seeing where, at best, police are making poor judgments and missteps, and at worst, brutality and death occurs simply because of not being able to move to the right conversation and going to the wrong fight. But I'm going to tell you this, the last thing I'm going to say, and I'm going to drop off. Jason, be safe, brother. Be safe,
bro.
All right.
No doubt.
I always
I
enjoy
sure
talking to you both.
And I appreciate you calling and talking with you as well, Eric, as always.
Yeah, me too, man.
All right,
Thank
I appreciate
you,
y'all, man.
All right, man.
All right, y'all have a good one.
Yep.
All right.
Eric hit it right on the spot. And I have been in situations where I could lock somebody up. But, it's just, sometimes it's just best not to talk to them like a kid either.
Yeah.
You talk to them like they're a responsible adult that made a mistake.
Yep.
You say, hey, you know better than this.
Yeah.
I know you wasn't raised like this. Now take your butt down the street, stop, goofing off. I have let people go that have done some things that I could actually lock them up. I can't say exactly what, but I have made people walk home before. People have come back to me and just stood in front of me and cried and said, you don't know what you did for me last night.
Yeah.
Or last week. I've gotten letters to my department. I used to get a letter from somebody that I dealt with at least once a month here. That's how much I was out on the road. And I'm not bragging. I have all of these letters. And
police,
I look
at
these letters.
It's good. You just good.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I was just about to say, you're not doing it for the letters. You doing it because you good police.
Yeah.
That's it, man.
And I wish every time something happens, Brian, I swear, I am not perfect, Brian. I am not perfect by any means necessary.
Yep.
I wish that I could help this person. I don't care who it is or what they did. Every time I see a shooting on TV, I don't go to cast judgment because people don't understand how police officers work.
Right.
Because it's like they don't want to educate themselves on something that involves them every day.
Yep.
When you walk out of your house, you are a citizen that is trying to make sure everything is protected around you. Now, who does this? You're a citizen that tries to make sure that everybody is treating everybody properly. Who does this?
Yep.
Sometimes you may have a weapon on you. And you are the first person on scene.
Yeah.
You are the first person there. You are the first person that can take action to solve what is going on before somebody calls the police. And today, everybody grabs their video phone camera and they sit there and they record what's going on and they do absolutely nothing to prevent anything from escalating any further than what it is. So by the time the police officers get there, all they hear over the radio is a brawl.
Yeah.
And when you hear brawl over the radio, you better come in there. You got to be already at level number 7.
Yep.
When you get there,
ready for the worst. That's right.
And it's hard. It's very hard to bring a rookie officer from 7 down to 6 or 5 or 4 when you got 5 rookies out there and 1 experienced officer. It's very difficult, and that's when your mistakes happen. This is why training should be longer and more diversified in our departments. It
That's it,
should be
brother.
longer. I
That's it.
understand. It's crazy, but we as citizens, we have to go down to the police department and get involved.
Yeah. Well, you
Just like
said
I
it,
asked
brother.
last time. I think weren't you on that show last time with me when I was talking to Tommy
Mm-hmm.
about this?
Yep.
And I said, let me ask you now, Brian. How many people do you think went down to the police department and said, "Hey, whatever happened to foot patrol?"
None.
I
None.
bet you now one of them.
None.
Nobody.
But you know what? In Chicago, they do foot and bike patrol down
That's awesome.
in downtown. They don't do it in the hood. They do it in the downtown areas where all the money at. They got foot patrol down. They got a few
In
that still
DC,
in the summertime. They'll be on foot patrol. They'll be on bicycles. They'll be on segways, and they even ride the
yeah, but
the quads
but see,
all
that's
through
sad
the
though.
downtown
They
all through
should
the
be
downtown area. Yep.
But they
Yeah.
should be in more places than just downtown.
Actually,
In DC
wait,
here, they do. Go ahead.
wait, hold on for a second. I want to let me put you on hold or hang on for a second. Let me get in
I'll
313.
hold on.
Yeah, let me get 313 in here, see what he wants to say, and then I'll come back to you, and then we can wrap it up. Hang on.
All right, no
All
problem.
right.
Yeah.
313740. You are on the air, my brother or sister.
Yeah. What's up, Brian? It's the King.
Oh, okay. What's up, man? You called back. That's good, man. Thank you, sir. So, what did you want to say about the subject? Let me hear you weigh in, man. What's happening?
I'm not even gonna hold you up, man. I called in, left, went to the store, so I'm not really sure what exactly got it.
Okay. So
I
what?
do remember briefly, the gentleman that was on the phone was talking about the actions and the response of the police officer, the average one compared to the well trained one.
Yeah.
And my only response to that would be, it's actually public knowledge on how to address a police officer when you get pulled over. So the police officer's attitude and response has no bearing on your own.
So
if you walk into the situation, calm, cool, collected, with a good attitude, more than likely you'll get out of the scenario. I'm living proof of it because I was riding around last Thursday, no insurance, and my plate was bold. Got pulled over by the narcotics division. They asked me everything about it. I gave them all the information they wanted to know. He came back to the car and was like, "Where you headed?" I said, "I'm going to work." He said, "Go ahead, go straight to work and get that taken care of."
There you go. And I mean I guess for me the thing is this. If that's what your experience was, it's like how many people will go and say something about that and make that like a public thing to where when they hear people talking about the police, as opposed to those who, if it was a bad experience, then you gonna tell everybody. So it's like you could have kept that story to yourself and not said shit. You know what I'm saying? But the fact that you was willing to bring that story and say, "Hey man, this is what happened to me, and this was just last week. This wasn't 8 years ago on a cold Thursday night or something like that." You brought it up and said, "This is what happened to me," just to make that point. And it's like, I think that in that aspect, a lot of police officers and the police department as a whole, they get a bad rap, and it's partially due to the not partially, but the majority of it is due to the media's aspect of it and the role they play in making it seem as though, you know, the police are always doing the wrong thing or doing something wrong, but they won't turn around and give that same attention to when the police do something right, do something that's nice or something that's kind, just as simple as, like you said, letting you go and do your thing and say, "Hey, just get it taken care of and giving you a pass," because that does happen more often than what people think. But people are so quick to harp on, especially us. We so quick to harp on, that police officer that is an asshole, or that police officer that is not well trained, or that police officer that just makes a mistake, and we tend to try to magnify that to the multitude of Mount Kilimanjaro when it's really just a molehill. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you for bringing that to the forefront, man, and letting that particular story or that aspect be known. I can't count the amount of time that the police department or police officers from other areas and in the areas that I've been in and that I frequent have let me go for infractions. Most of the time it's for speeding, or if it's for, well, not most of the time, but sometimes it's for speeding, or I may have not been paying attention and made a wrong turn when I should have turned another way, or whatever the case may be. Now, I have gotten a couple of tickets here and there. It's not all gravy, but I believe that with my personality, the way that I carry myself, and the way that I treat my fellow officers when I do meet them, or when I do have an interaction with them, whether I know them or not, I think it goes a long way. Like you just said, it makes a big difference. I have flown by police officers doing 80 and 90 miles an hour and didn't see them until it was too late. And as opposed to me still flying and waiting for them to come and pull me over, I pull over instantly. Once I see they hit, they pull out and they coming behind me before they hit they lights, I'm pulled over on the shoulder with my vehicle in park, getting my stuff together and putting my hands up, because I'm not gonna be an asshole and make them have to chase me down for another 4 miles, then play the, oh, I ain't see you. Now when they come up, I will say, officer, and explain myself and say, man, I know that I was speeding, but I honestly did not see you, so I wasn't trying to be like disrespectful and just fly by you like that. You know what I'm saying? And just being honest like that. Some of them has been like, well, man, just slow down. And then other times, someone's like, you know what? No, I'm going to give you a ticket. I got to write you up, man. And I won't write you up for the full amount. I won't say you was doing 85. I'll say you was doing 75. So you only 5 over. You know what I'm saying? So you have that balance in that same aspect. So, but what else did you want to say?
Right. And I can't tell you how many times I got pulled over and didn't get a ticket. I did 7 years in the military, and my 4 last years, I didn't even mention to the cops that I was in the military, and I still got away without getting a ticket.
See? And
we got to acting like.
Yeah, I think that it's a testament to show that when you, and this is, I guess, to tie this back to the whole fathers thing. Fathers bring a certain level of discipline, just like the military does, just like being in law enforcement does. There's a certain level of discipline and respect that you learn, and not having that, not being taught that as a kid, it has a huge impact on who you are and how you interact with other adults. Even when you've done something dead wrong and you are caught red-handed, the fact that you know how to carry yourself respectfully and to have that type of discipline, it can get you a pass on some things, and it can make it, when you do get caught red-handed, it can make the transition easier for your punishment. So that, I think, speaks volume as to how you're able to, talk about that and say the type of background that you have, and how you've used that to, just because I'm pretty sure that the fact that you are military, when you do talk, you have a certain level of respect and a certain level of discipline. Not to say you got to tell everybody that you talk to that you're military, but it gives you certain attributes or characteristics that most people don't have in our community.
Right.
Yep. I'll give you the last thought, man, and then I'm gonna click back over and we're gonna wrap this thing up.
Well, go ahead and do your thing, man. I just wanted to chime in and say that.
Man,
I know we must give a lot of cops a bad rep, like they're all dicks, and they're really not. And if we don't shine the light on the good cops and the good situations that people get, then it's gonna be.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, I thank you, brother Akeem. I appreciate it. And I'm going to tell you, man, I'm going to get this hangout thing right. And next time when we do a show, I'm going to definitely have that up and running, man. I know it's just something stupid that I missed and didn't pay attention to, but I'm gonna figure that part out, and I'll have it up right next time, man. Thank you for the phone call, brother. I appreciate it, man.
No problem, brother.
All right. Alrighty. All right, brother Jason.
Yeah, that was a good call.
Yeah, man,
That
it was.
that was
man.
a good call. That was good. But the thing that I wanted to say to him was, like you said earlier, Brian, you got to have your stuff together. Can't be leaving the house dirty.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
He could have had a bad day that day.
Yeah.
He could have had a bad day.
Yep.
And I'm not gonna say he's lucky, and it could have been his attitude too, because it sounds like a well-spoken person.
Yep.
And it could have been his attitude, and then again, they could have been waiting on something a little bit more important than that. No license, registration, or whatever have you did.
Yeah.
They're waiting on the bigger fish.
Yeah, that's true.
And just when you leave your house, and I do this, I do my vehicle inspections every week. Make sure all the lights work on my car. It sounds simple sometimes. It really does. But when you're running late, getting to work, and you get pulled over by the police officer, you're already upset.
Yep.
You're already pissed off. Because now you're going to be even more late.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure
man,
that you try to.
That makes me think about my dad, because he would always say, hey, man, if you're late, you're late. Whether you're 2 minutes or 8 minutes, it don't matter. Being late is being late, man. And I have slowed down and taken my time so many times, just because I realized that, like, you getting there at 8:04 or you getting there at 8:12, it ain't going to matter, because you're already late. But it can matter out in the street.
Yep.
To where, hey, you make a wrong turn, or you run a red light, or you swerve over trying to cut somebody off, and something worse can happen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you are 100% right with that, man.
Yeah, and people just have to understand that, I'm not. You have never heard me once disagree when people say that there are bad cops out there, and
yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I know there are. You know there are. The question is, what are you going to do about it?
Yep.
The question is always, what are you going to do? How do you affect your neighborhood and your local police department? What is your impact on your police department? Heck, do you go down there? Do you know anybody down there? Do you know the guy that drives through your neighborhood? Do you know the police officer that stops at the McDonald's and has a bite to eat? Do you walk up to him and say, hey, how you doing?
Yep.
Do you say anything to them? These small towns, they have the best relationship with their officers than the big places, of course, because they see the same people.
Yeah.
But when it goes bad in a little town, it goes bad.
Yep.
But again, you have to have that. It's community policing on both ends. You have to have the people policing themselves, and then you have the police officers out to enforce the law.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it wrong, Brian, but there is a way that it's been said that the police are not there to protect a single individual. And I don't want to say that wrong, but the police are not there to protect a single individual, to protect everybody.
Yeah.
They're not there to protect or serve or enforce the law on a single person. They're there to do it for everybody.
Yep.
So, people just have to be, I think people just have to be a little bit more responsible with what they're doing and how they're doing it. Stop cutting corners and do what you have to do. And when you stop cutting corners and you do what you have to do, it's all good. Again, I suggest everybody go down to your local police department if you don't have riding patrols through.
Yeah.
During the summertime, a lot of people think it's normal for cops to ride around with their windows up. And in the wintertime. No, that's not normal. How are you going to hear somebody calling for help when your window's up?
Yep. And that just comes
You,
with the
you,
whole
you
that
can't.
just comes with the whole, man, just the way that there's a certain type of approach
That
that you can
experience.
take, yeah, to being the police, and it's like it's all based on what you've been trained and how you've been taught, and what that has such an impact on how you approach the job every day, because that at the end of the day is what it is that you are there to do. And if you have a certain type of training path for new officers that come onto the force, if they aren't going along with what it is that you're teaching, then you can veto their shit and they won't be the police. You can say, hey, you failed your FTO. People don't realize that you can fail your FTO training and not make it. They be like, hey, dude,
Yes, you
you
can.
can't do this, and he's not doing that, and they grade you, and you don't make this, and yep, it's a wrap. So it's like that.
And that's a part of your record.
That's yeah.
That's a part of your training record.
Yep, definitely. Yeah.
And that training record can be subpoenaed in a court of law.
Yeah. There it is.
Yeah.
Well, man, I want to thank you, my brother, as always. I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me, Brian.
And man, it was a great conversation. I think that this can help somebody deal with the police, understand the police, and I think that the police can learn how to deal with people better and learn from us to be better themselves and be better officers, I hope. So I'm going to go ahead and place you on hold, brother, and then I'm going to go ahead and with my final thought and wrap this up. Do you have any last words for the people?
Brian, again, I want to touch on the first part of the show, man. You hit it out the ballpark. I couldn't even say anything. Really, I honestly couldn't even add anything. I added only a few things to what you already said. And I was just adding it on because I'm an active police officer today.
Yeah.
But your experience, because a lot of your experience came from your father.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Seeing him every day, asking him questions.
Yep.
It was like you were already being trained and groomed.
Yes, absolutely.
In your father's own way to be a police officer.
Absolutely.
And you were headed down that, and I don't want to know what happened, but you did serve, but you were headed down that path, and you hit these things on the head and drove that nail right into that wood on one swing. Yep. You did it.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. And I can actually, and I thank you for that, brother. And I can actually, I'm going to go ahead and just be transparent with that and just basically say, here's what happened. So me being young, I should have taken being the police a lot more serious than what I was when I was young. And I'm talking like in my early 20s. I took the test once when I was like maybe, I want to say I was like 22, I think I was. But I didn't really want to just be the police then. I wanted to be out in the streets. I wanted to be a rap star. I wanted to live the life. I wanted to ball out with all of the ladies, all of the monies, all the cars, all the pig's feet, and all the hog's maws, all the collard greens. I wanted it all. So I didn't take that set serious. And I wish that I would have, but I didn't. And I wish that my dad would have driven it home for me more. He did it the best he could, but I wish he would have been like, no, you gonna do this, or you ain't gonna be my son. I'd have took it more serious then, but I wish he would have done that. Then I had the opportunity later on in life, in my mid 30s, and at that time I wanted to be the police, and I wanted to do it. I thought I was ready, and I went to go take the test, and I have never been one who tested well, like the SATs, your ACTs, and all of those big tests like that. I don't test well, and at that particular time, I was I knew that, and I tried to prepare. I probably could have done better in hindsight, but I thought that I would be able to pass it if I didn't really pressure myself to it. And I failed the written test. And I thought that I would have passed it, but I didn't. I failed the written test, and because I failed the written test, I couldn't. You can't go on. So the physical test and the crazy test, I didn't even get that far. I was so worried about the physical test because I just knew that I was going to pass the written test. And that written test is where I blew it. And when I blew it there, at that time, they didn't give that test, the police exam. They didn't give it, every couple of years. They gave it like once every like 5 to 8 years. They was giving it then. It wasn't always just coming up. So by the time it came out again, I was too old. I had reached the age limit. So that was how I missed it. I think that I would have been good police. I think that the fact that I wanted to do it, and how much it meant to me later on in life, and how much it meant to me to carry on that name in law enforcement, drove me to the other opportunity that I had, where I was able to be a sheriff's deputy reserve, which was a great experience. Worked with a great bunch of guys, had a great time. One of my buddies, Todd, who was my partner that I went out with for the majority of the time. Man, I had a ball with that dude. You know what I'm saying? Just learning from him, and being out there with him, having his back, and knowing that he had my back. I mean, we had some good times, some great rides, and I really liked doing it. When I went to go, however, I went and worked as a computer technician in the county where I was working as a reserve deputy. They wouldn't let you double dip. So because I couldn't do both, I had to choose. And of course, my main occupation was better than kind of like the part-time thing that I was doing. So that's why I went ahead and did that, and I had to resign from being a sheriff's deputy or whatever. So that's how I missed the mark for being a Chicago police officer. Like I said, I wish I would have done it, but fact is, it just wasn't. It wasn't. It was my fault that I didn't excel at it, because I didn't really take it serious enough in the first time, and the second time it was just too much. I didn't take it serious enough to where I was trying to alleviate the pressure and didn't really prepare myself like I should have, and so I missed it. But that's neither here nor there. There's always still great work that I'm doing, and I would just say, to wrap things up here, I would challenge us as a people to understand police officers better, to learn the law better, know what it is that you're doing and why you're doing it. To those of you that are out there and got bad taste in your mouth about police and their experience, because you've had a bad experience, I understand why you feel that way. However, police ain't going nowhere. And those that try to revolt and do the whole fuck the police and all that, you're not doing anything but giving yourself a disservice, because the day you run into a good cop, the day you run into good police, because of your bad attitude, you're going to make them into the police that's going to use their authority and their power to make your day just as bad as you're trying to make theirs, because you instantly have an attitude. You have to take it like you take a relationship with a girl. Yeah, your last girlfriend might have been the worst person in the world and might have just been a true bitch, but your next one could actually be your life partner and your wife. Your next interaction with your fellow police officer could be a great one, and then the next one, it could be actually a piss poor one. However, if you're not active in your community, if you're not holding your politicians accountable to hold your law enforcement officers accountable, you're not going to get anywhere. You're going to be right where you're at today. To my law enforcement brethren, I would challenge you all to be better law enforcement officers by being better people, period. Be a law enforcement officer, be a police officer that has good intentions. Be a law enforcement officer that has the intention of helping people first, before your misconceptions and thinking everybody's a bad guy and thinking everybody's an asshole and everybody hates you, and that you're on this power trip. Have the mentality to say, well, what can I do to help this person and do my job at the end of the day? So it's like, you think of it like you think of every stop that you make like you pulling over your best friend or your mother or your father, and how you would want an officer of the law that didn't know you to treat that person. You know what I'm saying? It's like, do you walk up to every person with your gun drawn and put it up to the window and say, let me see your fucking hands? Do you do that? Would you want someone to do that to your mother? Would you want somebody to do that to your brother or to your father or to your son or to your daughter? Then don't be so quick to do it when you approach that other person. If you see a person that looks suspicious, that's going to give you a problem, and you think that they might be doing something bad, there's so many different tactical ways to do that and to approach that situation. First and foremost, calling for backup. Second of all, don't approach. Keep your distance and give verbal commands. There are a lot of different things you can do to be a better police officer where you don't have to escalate something just because you may have a certain misconception about somebody, or perception about a certain person or a certain race of people or a certain group of people because of the area that you live in. And then again, on the other side of that, there are hot zone areas, there are bad areas, there are bad people that you really need to make sure that you're prepared to deal with. And that's by being a tactical minded person first. Think worst case scenario, and then don't think you have to go and be a goddamn matador and slay the bull every time. Sometimes you need to sit back and say, you know what, let me take the long range approach to this and let me see how I can handle this the best and the safest way possible. Case in point, Tamir Rice. That little kid should have never been killed for the simple fact that if you get a call as a law enforcement officer and you hear that there's a kid in the park with an assault rifle or an AK-47 or a shotgun or a handgun, there's no way in hell you should ride your car up to the kid like you about to ask him, do he want to hop in the back seat of your car? You should have stopped your car back damn near a half block, or if not, maybe at least bare minimum 200 feet away from that kid, and then give that kid commands from within your car, not approaching. Because if he has a gun and if he's gonna be the kid that's gonna shoot up everybody that comes into the park, you don't need to ride up on him or run up on him with your vehicle. Case in point. That's all I wanted to say about that, just to give an example. So it's like you can, and I know there are people that's going to watch this and say, well, yeah, now you Monday morning quarterbacking this shit. But at the end of the day, it's your job and your responsibility to always think, what am I going to do? And if that doesn't work, what am I going to do next? And if you would have been thinking that in that instance, to say, I'm going to run up on this kid, and then if this kid got a gun, what you going to do next? I'm going to shoot him. Then you should have not even approached that kid, because that should not be your intention if he's not shooting anybody or hurting anybody at that point in time, because it wasn't nobody else in that damn park when you rolled up on him. So at the end of the day, that tactical training, at the end of the day, more FTO training, at the end of the day, all of those people skills, they all play a part in you doing one thing: helping people. And if that is your intention, to help people, good, bad, or indifferent first, you will be better police. You will learn about being the type of police officer that the people that are being policed would want you to be. And not to say that it's all going to be roses and it's all going to be, you know, fun and games and unicorns and magical creatures all through your neighborhood that you police, but you will have more good interactions as opposed to the same old bullshit that you're probably tired of and burnt out from and dealing with every single day. People will begin to respect you a little bit more when you show respect a little bit more. Now, you still got your dirtbag, scum of the earth assholes that you gonna lock up, but that's what your profiling skills are for, and that's what your tactical your tactical approach is to be used for. So at the end of the day, be better police, and for the people that are being policed, just be better people, and things will get better. I appreciate you guys as always for coming out. I appreciate you guys for supporting. To everybody that's watching this, like, subscribe, share, leave your feedback, your comments, and man, thank you as always. It is always a pleasure and it's always an honor to be here with you guys, because at the end of the day, all of this that I do, all of this that I say is for nothing else than to hope that you all will become better versions of yourself, including me. I love you guys to life. Peace. And as always, I am Brian Redmond. This is the Relationship Rehab Live, and I am out. Peace. I love you guys. And let's end this call, and then we're going to end this stream.